Good afternoon. Welcome. It is August 1st, and it is a brand new month, and it is time for a summit meeting of, I guess, YouTube content creators or just people in general that have stuff to say. So I'm going to have an old school,
Okay, let me
just
go.
free-for-all. Just a free-for-all. You guys want to come in, the link is in the video description. Well, actually, I put it in the live chat, not in the video description. I put it in the live chat. But I already have one person in here already. I have the wonderful Suzanne, the salty something other from Costa Rica, retired or supposedly retired, but still does stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I probably always will do stuff. I'm writing my book right now. I'm really heavily into that at the moment. So I'm
Which
always
one?
doing something.
Wait, you were writing a couple books. So which one are you working
I've
on?
got like three
Yeah.
simultaneous. I'm trying to finish up my one about my time in the Quiverful Church. But sure enough, I got some crazy stories to tell, like the time they tried to do the exorcism on the Stone Kid and all of that. And I'm trying to write about moving to Costa Rica because what you don't know when you move here can really hurt you.
Like the native
And
wildlife
a
down
novel.
there, like the everything.
No,
Things down there
stupid
could
stuff.
kill you. It's kind of like Australia. I've seen the critters that live down there. They're nasty, like tarantulas and scorpions and.
Oh, tarantulas are harmless. The scorpions here are not poisonous, so it's all good. It's all good. Even though I keep finding them on my bedroom rug, both of them.
Oh God, I would move in a heartbeat. I'd burn the place down, never to return. Yeah, but you know
So
what?
I just put them in the dustpan and encourage them to toddle off outside and do their thing.
You know, speaking of scorpions, it's kind of a good segue to kind of what I want to talk about real quick. But I think I just lost my headset here. 1 second. Speak. I can't hear you.
Hey,
Hang on.
yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I brought this up on Twitter the other day, right? And I know people have tried something along these lines before. And again, this is not like me telling people not to watch something, or I don't give a shit who people watch. I don't care about any of that stuff. But there is something to be said by there are certain content creators, which shall be not named directly at the moment, but there are certain content creators that really most of their, or I would say a large percentage of their content is hate viewers. People that watch them merely because these people are just so morally bankrupt and so despicable that you can't not like look away like a train wreck. Now, I personally, I don't watch them. I haven't like watched any of Katie's stuff. Like 2019, I think maybe the last thing I ever watched from her. I watch everything literally from Twitter pretty much, and people that
Llama
post
Girls clips.
Llama Girls 95%. Right, Llama Girl's
Yeah.
95% of the shit that I see is from her, and God, do people owe her a debt of gratitude. That woman must be suffering greatly.
Absolutely. She
I love her.
takes one for the team.
She really does. Her and Rennell. Rennell is another one that I just absolutely adore.
I love Rennell too.
And,
He's so sweet.
And then, of course, that other Aaron person, you know, EKP something or other.
Yeah,
EKC something or other, yeah. There's her that she's in my top at least 20, I guess, you know, somewhere in that ballpark.
That's good.
Yeah. She's up there, I guess. But those are the three. Those are the three that generally will go out of their way to watch and then kind of do commentary on. So if anybody wants to do commentary after that, they can just watch their show. So I was like kind of saying, hey, look, can we maybe all collectively say, hey, you know what? Enough's enough with these shitty people that do shitty things to good people that have harmed families, that have done. I mean, I don't even know what's going on with some of them because I just haven't really followed, but I know that Suzanne's probably going to fill us in here, and I have a few other people joining here in a second, hopefully.
Okay.
But I was thinking, look, can we all maybe make a pact for like a month or something, like for the entire month of August, to not hate watch people? Now, again, I don't hate watch, so, well, I mean, there are other channels. There might be a few I do.
I know they do.
You know they do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people have told me, and there's a whole new group of caters that are watching her. They're watching every word coming out of her mouth, and I keep trying to tell them, don't watch her,
Right.
don't watch her. If you really want to hit her in the breadbasket, impact her, don't watch her.
Yeah, it's an enabling. I mean, because when you're getting hate views, it's still for those narcissists out there that want that narcissistic supply.
Yes.
Yeah, they see numbers like, oh, I got big numbers. I got 1,000 people watching, and probably 900 of them can't stand the person, right? But it doesn't matter because it's still hate viewing. They still get something out of it because they're getting the attention they want, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So what do you think about this idea? I mean, again, the three, we'll call them the big three. We'll call, there'll be, which would be Llama Girl, Rennell, and Aaron. So those three that I think are the ones that generally can suffer through watching a lot of these content creators that that most of us probably should never actually watch ever. But if we do something like that where we just say, look, no more hate watching, stop the hate.
Yeah, stop it.
Do you think anybody's going to like actually abide by that? Do you think anybody's actually going to go for it? We tried it before with other content creators, and by the way, it's not just I'm just not talking about Katie. I'm talking about across the board. There are other content creators that are just the same.
There's a lot of hateful YouTubers, and what's particularly unique about the Katie Joy anti-community, which I like to call us Pitchfork Nation, because that's the thing that Todd Paulson dubbed us. So yeah, we got our pitchforks. We're villagers running up to the castle to take the monster out.
PFN, Pitchfork Nation. I haven't heard that before. No,
yeah. I always tell people, don't watch her. Go on YouTube, on Twitter, and follow Llama Girl and watch her clips, because she gets all the best stuff. And I go through phases where I'll talk about Katie on my channel and sometimes when I won't. But it's really hard because when somebody's doing so many stupid things, one after another, it's hard not to talk about her. It's hard not to go in and hate watch.
I don't hate watch her, so it's not difficult for me. But I get it that people want to see the F-ary, and I'm trying to limit my cursing for this month to see if it makes a difference, because I know TOS has been changing and YouTube is really kind of cracking down on a lot of things, including cursing. Yeah, so you've noticed it too. I mean, it's if you read the new stuff, they're kind of cracking down on all that stuff. So I just want to see what happens if you don't curse for a particular show. But yeah, so can you fill me in a little bit what's happening with the whole Vaughn McCrae thing, because I know that she's being a trauma vulture right now, and a death vulture, and I got the kind of a tertiary
trauma vampire, not a vulture. She's a vampire because she gets something from it, from covering those things.
But how sick does a person have to be to get something out of the misery, a misfortune of others, especially when she's making all these racist comments, she's making all these anti-mother comments. She's literally, to me, and this is one of the reasons why I don't talk about her much, but when I do, it's significant because there's some F-ary afoot. But when what I've seen, harassing the mother of a child that is in a coma, I don't know how much lower you get from that. I don't know where you go from there any lower. What is underneath that?
I don't know exactly what's underneath it, except I think she's a trauma vampire. Like those little bats, the bats, I can't think the name of this type of bats, that live off of tears. I think that she's like that the more trauma is in a situation, the more she's just going to keep on. Like everybody was trying to get me to watch her when she was doing Gabby Petito, and I could not. I literally could not, because even Llama Girl's clips, because my own daughter, Gabby reminded me of my own daughter when she was younger, and it was just too much. And Katie never gets that. She always goes to the lowest of the low, and just keeps working it. Like this Vaughn McCrae thing, this Marvon McCrae, he's in a coma in a hospital out west somewhere, and he tried to kill himself. That's all I really know for sure. He tried to kill himself. He ended up in the hospital with traumatic brain injury. Katie was saying he was brain dead, and his wife had filled him full of kratom, whatever kratom is, and tried to strangle him.
I heard kratom, and then I heard Special K.
Yeah, so she's the wife, Dre McCrae, apparently is into alternative medicine, including kratom. So
there's different uses for kratom. It's not as bad as she thinks it is. But
exactly.
I'm confused here, though. One, how does she go from a child that is apparently an attempted suicide to this family has attempted murder of their child? I mean, she's gone from A to Z with nothing in between. It's just salacious. It's completely for clicks and views. It's completely for her to get some kind of story out. And by the way, I think she does is shotgunning. She just puts a bunch of crap out, and occasionally some of them will actually be incorrect. I mean, it's like the principal explosion. If you have contradictions, you can prove anything. So if she says enough stuff that's even contradictory, one of them's going to happen. Right. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what she says. She's going to find a way to like milk it to no end. But how does she even in her mind justify accusing a mother of trying to kill her own child with no evidence, nothing, zero? I mean, there's nothing that I've seen. And I haven't looked into it too great, but where did she get this from?
Well, she's hurt and upset because Letitia Bias, I think that's her name, because I haven't been following this super closely, but I have a little bit. She was talking to Letitia Bias and saying, well, I'm going to raise some money for you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And she was, working with Molly Golightly and Justin of Justice for All. And they were doing live streams and trying to raise money and talking about this. Well, Katie had this audio she'd gotten from somebody, and she did not want Molly or Justin to play it. So she tried to say it was some secret source that was telling her she was the only one allowed with this. And that's where the falling out started in the community, and people started just losing their damn minds over this whole thing just because of a piece of audio. We found out later that the audio was not exclusive to Katie. The woman that gave it to her said none of that, but we all know she does that crap.
Right. Yeah.
So she has tried her damnedest to make this about her. First, she started accusing his wife, Dre, of trying to kill him. Now she's trying to accuse his mother. Did you listen to the audio of the mother crying over the things that he said?
I listened to Renelle had played something from Molly's stream on her channel, and it was heartbreaking. I mean, Jesus Christ.
It really is. This is a family. They're not celebrities, so I'm not even sure why Katie is seized upon this thing so much.
Because it's trauma, and she thrives off trauma. She literally, for some reason, gets off on it. I mean, look, I've dealt with a lot of sociopaths in my life. You know what I've been through. You've known the people that we deal with, and I have never in my life seen anything like Katie. A person who not only just thrives on misery, but goes out of her way to create it in order to thrive on it. That's next level psychopathy.
It's just stupid. It's just unbelievably, and I can't believe no one in her family has tried to stop her.
Well, I think they probably have, but what are they going to do?
Not emotionally healthy.
Well, yeah, but they know that. What are they going to do? They I'm sure her entire family knows that she is not mentally well. But they've alienated her, they've isolated her, and they probably have no contact with her. But as a community, as other YouTubers, what can we do? Because again, I initiated a lawsuit. I've already spent how many thousands? $5,000, $6,000 freaking dollars of my own money, even after my GoFundMe. Right. Well, after I've already paid twice as much of my GoFundMe made on legal costs for Katie. I spent another $5,000 on Kyle. So I mean, that's $10,000 of my own money that I've spent on legal costs that I've not recouped. Okay, so when people say,
you could have spent on something else, that's what's so hard about this whole thing for you. And people are like, "Oh, Steve and his fundraisers, he's trying to rip people off."
Right, I'm the world's worst fucking grifter. Oh, I cursed. I'm sorry. Whatever. I'm the worst fucking grifter in the world because I, for some reason, spent $10,000, and I guess that's considered to be fraud raising. I don't know how that mathematically works, but I don't give a flying fuck. None of my concern about that. But the point is,
I don't either. But I'm going to start blocking people on Twitter because they're fighting over this stupidity. I'm kind of like, no, I don't have time for that right now.
Hang on. That reminds me about something on that. I'll put a pin in that because I want to come back to that real quick. But
okay.
But I was going to say, at least I was putting my money where my mouth was, right? I'm at least willing to fight, and I've been talking about this stuff for years, and nobody gave a shit 2 years ago, right? Nobody bothered listening to me.
Right.
All of a sudden, this shit started happening to them, and they're like, oh my God, maybe Steve was right on this, huh? Oh, you were warning people years ago too. I remember. I remember coming to you directly, and you're like, oh my God, Dev, I got some stories for you.
Yeah, because I had to work with her, and I had to train her, and I had to listen to her bullshit endlessly. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I know you worked with her.
I had to listen.
Listen to her. Fuck it.
She constantly bitched about everybody we worked with why? Because there goes my phone. Oh well. Because our boss did not give her strokes. He didn't give her warm fuzzies. He never talked about how great her articles were while he was patting the friendly atheist and others on the back.
Yeah, she wanted those accolades. She wanted those adorations. She wanted to feel like she's important and that her
she wouldn't
content was good.
She wouldn't participate in the back channel discussions at all, which is where it really goes down. We're talking about different things. She wouldn't do anything extra. She wouldn't moderate anything for Pathos. She was just not willing to put any kind of work into it at all. And she even told me one time that subs are complaining about typos in her articles. It's just, I don't have time to deal with that.
Well, I mean, first of all, she's had no journalistic education. I mean, she has no education in journalism whatsoever. People, and I've seen people post things. Oh, well, Katie's a journalist. Blah, blah. No, she's not. Zero education.
No.
She doesn't even know the first thing about the best practices of journalism. No, she doesn't even know what best practices even are.
She wouldn't even read the best practices manual of Pathos. And because they put one out, it addresses a lot of the things.
I'm sure most places have some kind of best practice manual of some kind. I mean, they always, where I'm at, there's always best practices. Because, it's trial and error.
Absolutely.
And that's how it works. They say, look, we've done this for a while. We've realized these are the best practices we have so far to date that work.
Right.
And, they could change, things get better and change. But as to date, that is usually what's instantiated to say, this is how we want the performance to go. This is how we want the procedures to go because we have done it other ways and it didn't work out that well. And in journalism, there's some best practices. One of which is if you have a source, you have to validate and verify that source. You have to make sure that the source is telling you that they are who they say they are and they have credible information. If not, you could be held liable for slander or liable, which Katie didn't know the difference, by the way. For a journalist who doesn't know the difference.
I know she doesn't know the difference. And here's the interesting thing to me about her. She has used as content rumors that I've told her from unnamed Duggar insiders that we all get. I get them, she got them. And I had a dossier on those people, a lot of things that had never made it in the public, and I couldn't verify them in such a way that I could use them at Pathos or on YouTube. She went ahead and did it.
Yeah, because she has no journalistic integrity. And that's what's got her in trouble. That's exactly why Todd Chrisley has sued her, because she claimed she had an inside source from the show Chrisley Knows Best, where some producer or one time, I swear to God, I remember her saying it was a producer. Now, if I'm wrong on that, I do apologize. I
remember that too.
And so I'm not losing my mind. I know I'm getting old and senile, but I remember her saying the word producer when it came to this particular source. But I mean, even still, she said someone from the show. That is a fact. So someone from the show,
I know she did.
Yeah. So someone from the show had told her, that they believed Todd that Todd had basically blackmailed his daughter, right, with that whole sex tape thing. Which I don't understand what the hell that would even mean. Just to say, oh, well, this person believes, that this happened. So what? That's I don't even have any idea how. Matters to the veracity of the story, right? Just because they believe it doesn't mean there's evidence for it, right?
There's no evidence for it, but she continued. She wrote several posts at Pathos about it. I think that was one of the things that got her in trouble with the higher ups. Some of the articles she was doing towards the end, because when she left, it was a flaming, burn everything to the ground kind of situation. I saw some of the emails between her and Phil Fox, the managing editor, and they weren't nice.
Oh yeah, and
on either side.
Oh, and
they were nasty.
Fun fact, and you do remember this. She did say again, and I know this for a fact. She did say that she voluntarily left Pathos and took her blogs with her. No. That's not even how it works at Pathos. They own your shit. Okay.
They own your shit.
Yeah, they own your shit
until they decide to take it down.
Yeah, which they did.
Yeah, so I've only seen that happen once before, and that was with David Hayward, the naked pastor. He got into it with them, and when he left,
they took it down.
He took all of his content with him.
Yeah, they took Katie's stuff down. Yeah, they took it down.
Firebombed his. I've seen, like I said before, I've only seen that happen that one time.
Well, she said she left them and she took all her stuff. These were her words.
No.
Right.
The contract allows them to keep your stuff and to repackage it and republish it endlessly. And that happens sometimes, because I wrote a pile of articles, like 27, about this murder that may be linked with New Bethany Home for Girls in Arcadia, Louisiana. And they sold my article again and again and again to newspapers throughout Louisiana.
Yeah, well, they own it, right?
They own it. Yeah. They own it. They own it with the writer.
That's the trade-off you give them for the publicity.
Right. For the option of using their very nice space, using their CMS, their content management system, using all of that. That's the price you pay.
Right.
But here's the thing I want to throw out here and let you think about. I know why she calls herself a journalist. I know exactly where that came from. And I keep screaming this one from the rooftops. The reason she calls herself a journalist is once Pathos was bought out by BeliefNet, which I wasn't real happy about, they ordered us to stop calling ourselves bloggers. I said, do not use the term bloggers because this is a media site. We don't want you claiming you're blogger. Rebrand yourself something else. So most of us rebranded ourselves as something like opinion writer. I use daily columnists because I was writing daily for them. Katie Joy said, oh, so I can call myself a journalist now. And that's exactly what she started doing. That's how she interpreted that directive.
That's news to me. I hadn't heard that one before.
Yeah, well, nobody has heard
I totally believe that one, but I've never heard that one before.
That's the one. That was the moment. But I just kind of, when she said that, I laughed it off because I could not imagine anybody would be stupid enough to say, okay, so they said I can call myself whatever the hell I want. I'm a journalist.
Who does this? I mean, again, I understand she lacks social skills, but that's just beyond ignorance. That's somebody who has so little understanding of a topic that they are basically taking credit from other people. They're saying, hey, I'm gonna take credit from actual journalists and use the term journalism that I didn't earn that title. Now, again, there's no formal qualifications for journalists. I get that, but I can guarantee it. Anybody who's labeled themselves a journalist who has any kind of real name recognition out there has had some kind of education in the field, has worked for some kind of news organization, has done some kind of actual press somewhere along the line.
Absolutely. Some of us have worked for local newspapers, all sorts of things like that, all kinds of things. I've written professionally off and on for a long time before and now after Pathos. I'm still placing articles with the UK press and getting paid for it. So
there you go. And I'm a blogger. I write my epistemological blog, the 3M philosophy, but I mean, I don't write myself as any kind of big time blogger. I just blog, right?
Right.
So let me read this real quick, and then I want to
go ahead.
I want to get back to how do we avoid these hate watching stuff? I mean, what can we do to get it out of the community to say, hey, look, can we just all stop? Well, not me because I don't do it that much, but other people stop hate watching. Kawasa 10,001 says, howdy, any plans to invite over some MAGA folks for talks? Possibly, but then again, have you seen what's been going on Twitter with those guys? Oh my God. I hear they are the new Flat Earth Friday material, like MAGA Monday maybe. That's not a bad idea, Kawasa. They sort of think, talk, and behave like Katie supporters. Yeah, no, I've seen these MAGA people. I've been Flaffenberger, and some other people on Twitter were talking to these MAGA guys who were talking about the Capitol riots and trying to justify the rioting, and that the Capitol Police overstepped their bounds by, defending the Congress people by shooting. Who was it? Bobbitt? What was her name?
Oh my God!
And I'm
don't even start on that.
I'm like, wait a minute. So let me get this straight. They did their job. They had domestic terrorists on government property, which, by the way, is limited by time, place, and manner. It is a limited public forum. You don't have unfettered access. And by the way, James Freeman will probably be joining in because he has a few things to say about that. As I found out, he's a totalitarian and wants complete government domination over everything. Kidding.
Here's the thing about what you're saying about this. I used to live near D.C. My husband worked in D.C. He worked on Capitol Hill for many, 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 many years. I've gone to watch them legislate, and you have to go through so much insane security. They even take your purse away from you. They won't let you bring a piece of paper and a pen in there to write.
Yeah, no,
nothing.
I'm all for security.
I was just jaw dropped when that happened. In fact, when it went down, I was at a little Pico restaurant having barbecue, and we were there. There were people from Germany, Switzerland, France, all kinds of places. And we were all with our phones looking like this, going, "Oh my God, what happened?"
We were live
Nobody
at the time.
could believe it.
We were live. Huh? We were live at the time. I had Landon on.
You were?
Yeah, Landon and I were live, and so he actually had a friend that was actually in the Capitol at the time. Some kind of I think it was a congressional aide or somebody, or an intern probably. But yeah, they were giving him real-time stuff. But, here's the thing. I completely believe that you can never have 100% security and 100% freedom. They're incompatible with each other.
You're right.
Yeah, in order to give up, some security for freedom, I'm fine with that. Because, I mean, how do you function in a society that's 100% freedom and 100% security, unless James Freeman knows a way? I have no idea how that would even work. So I'm fine.
I don't know what that looks like.
What would that, besides total anarchy, right?
Yeah, it would be.
And I know, and by the way, James does tend to anarchy. I know that. I don't know. I hate to say I'm not a statist, right? If anything, maybe I would be called. I think it's called what's the term for a minimalist statist? What's the term? A minister. It's like a mini something. It's like the least form of statism, where you just have payments for police and fire. What's it called?
Beyond me, politics. I don't know.
Where's my live chat when I need him? Yeah, James says total anarchy is perfect.
I used to be in favor of anarchy when I was younger, but I'm too old for that now.
I still have to have that conversation with James of how total anarchy would actually work, because I don't know.
I don't know. I've had that conversation with my son because he kind of believes that too. He's like anti-government at this point. To the ridiculous. I finally did get him to quit following Drew Peterson, at least. So
I mean, I'd be interested to hear that discussion. I just don't know what it would look like. I
don't either.
Minarchy. That's it. The word I was looking for. Minarchy. Yeah. Who uses that word? Who uses that word that often? Right. Yeah. Oh, look who decided to join us. Say it. It's James.
Hey, everybody.
It's James Freeman. Did you?
Yeah, total anarchy is the only way.
Hey, James, did you used to have an accent when you used to say that? Because I watch, unfortunately, I do watch your shit. And you start off, it's James Freeman. Did you? I swear to God, I'm having like one of those Mandela moments where I think that we had a quantum leap or something. Because I remember early, didn't you used to say things like, it's James Freeman? Didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not losing my mind.
By the way, the word you were looking for was minarchist, though.
Yeah, thank you. I had to look.
Minarchist.
Yeah, I Googled, okay? We have Google nowadays.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah. I was transitioning between watching and jumping on. So
in the interim, I actually had to Google it. Minarchist or, a minimalist status kind of stuff. Minarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm all for it.
Not a word I use often, okay?
Yeah. No, that's a good position to be in, I think. I think it's very respectable.
So before I get into the stuff that I want to talk to you about real quick, James, what do you think about hate viewers? Because by the way, you got hate viewers, right?
Yeah, I do. I really lost a lot of them, though, because trolls are kind of like, I have 4 sisters, okay? And I would only tease the ones that I got a reaction out of. And that's how trolls are. When you don't react the way that they want you to react, they stop trolling you. So I always invited my trolls in. Some of them were I'll tell you, when I first started, I went out with Johnny 5-0. And we went to this police department and I was live. And he's like, man, you got a whole bunch of trolls in your chat. And I was like, do you mean trolls or do you mean people who disagree with my opinions? Because sometimes people are calling people who simply disagree with me a troll.
Right. Yeah.
But they have quite respectable, right. And but I invite all, whether you're just there to screw with me or whether you got an actual point to make, I invite all to come play it. I like to remind you, it all helps the algorithm. And thanks for boosting my YouTube channel by coming in to talk crap.
So what do you think? So what do you about the trolls that don't ever give up? Like I literally have one person who has an entire Twitter account dedicated to me. They have over 10,000 tweets. They've been doing it for 2 years. I don't ever go to their timeline. I don't follow any of them. They just get retweeted and I see their shit. But for 2 years, this person follows everything I do. It's bizarre as shit, dude. I've never talked to the person in real life. I've never been to hang out with them. It's just a complete obsession, right? You know how there's certain people that have OCD that just fixate on something? Well, I end up being the fixation for a couple people, and more than just one. I'm talking about, Suzanne, how many do you think? A dozen, maybe?
Maybe a dozen or so, okay. and a few on the sidelines too, because this morning I saw somebody that I know that's a friend of mine that was on my timeline talking crap about you, and I was like, not this SHIT again.
Yeah, my name comes up. All they do is talk about me. Look, I have a job, man. I've been living my life. I've been happy. I've been great here. I have a wonderful roommate. Kano has been I love you, Kano. Hi.
Hi, Kano. I love you too.
He's in the live chat there. So,
hey, no, I don't know you, but hey.
you know Kano. She's a mod for like a lot of people.
I probably do. I don't know. I know so many people, and I start losing my mind figuring out which ones I do. Terrible about that.
But,
anyway.
But James, what do you think about these people that like literally just use like names for like, and I hate to say using names for clout, but that's what they do. They just use my name, and I don't get it. I'm not clout worthy. I'm a nobody on fucking YouTube. You got 280,000 million subscribers. I got fucking 30, like almost 30,000. Big fucking deal. That's nothing on YouTube.
Well, it's a smaller YouTuber, because I had that happen last week where a much smaller YouTuber went after me, and I was like, "What?" Because of the things they were saying were so utterly ridiculous, and they're part of the caterer community.
When they're punching up, they're punching
for a
up.
while, and I just went ahead and blocked because it's like, I've got too much.
Suzanne, what did they tell you when they're punching up for you?
Yeah. They were punching up for me, trying to get more subs. They have 30 free subs.
Wow.
And I don't have a whole lot, of under 3,000, but I'm not in this to get subs and money.
And that's what the funniest thing is. They think that we are. They think that people are. They think that because they are, right? Because Katie and all of them are so sub driven. They're so worried about numbers, and the rest of us. I do this shit for fun. I do it because I enjoy it. I don't give a flying fuck about the numbers. It's a hobby. It's a hobby. Now, before, yes, I did a lot more seriously because I had, the non sequitur show and I put all my effort into that and I got fucked over that. Yeah. But now I don't have to worry about that. I do it for fun.
Right. I was going to ask you, by the way, can I be your new co-host and we'll sign a contract where you get half, but I'll actually have control of everything?
God damn it. Another one? Sure. What the hell? Let's do it.
Dude, what could go wrong?
Kyle 3.0.
Here comes the pool guys. Sorry, I'm being distracted.
Oh. Wait, pool guy?
Yeah.
You got a cabana boy?
The pool guys are coming to clean the pool.
Oh, Suzanne's got a cabana boy.
I've got one troll that my attorney informed me about recently that I heard about him 4 years ago. And then my attorney sent me an email and said, "Hey, are you aware of this guy? He's been following you every day for 4 years straight on all of your channels, including your family channel." And I said, "Yeah, I mean."
What is it? Okay. What is the mindset of these people? Again, they fixate on a single person. I don't know. What is the criteria they determine? For example, like I'm the world's worst YouTuber according to certain people, and I'm a nobody. I mean, we're going to talk about, we have been talking about Katie Joy Paulson, which I think you know about, and then we're going to be talking about Chille Decastro here in a few minutes. I mean, I don't. First of all, I'm new to that dude. I swear to God, I had followed this shit for a very long time, as you know, James, and I started going down some of these rabbit holes, and maybe it was about a week ago I ran across this guy Chille. What? How did I miss this fucking dude?
Dude, he's a riot. He's comedy gold, man.
I've never seen anything like it.
I think there's probably 12 channels on YouTube that have made content where they're getting enough views that they're monetized just talking about this guy or just re-showing what he does. But he takes himself seriously, whereas the rest of the world is laughing their butt off. And so, if you're watching taking it serious, it's quite disappointing. But if you watch it as a comedy show, then it's probably one of the best things on television today. Like Comedy Central has got nothing on Chille Decastro. This guy's hilarious.
I've just been binge watching a bunch of shit. I watched okay, you had an epic troll of him. And again, there are white trolls and there are white hat trolls, not white trolls, not a racial thing. It's white hat trolls. And then there's like
black troll.
Well, you could be a little bit of both. You're like chaotic. You're chaotic neutral. You don't give a flying fuck one way or another. But you were trolling the shit out of him. And it was hilarious. Yeah. I was laughing this morning, like out loud. I was like, "Holy fuck, this is golden!" Explain what happened, because you were doing a stream, and this guy Chille, who we'll get into some details of. I got the Mass Hole report, hopefully coming on, maybe at the end of this week too, because she has some major fuckery with this dude. But oh my god, like legal fuckery and stuff. But you had and he dropped in, and first of all, explain his I don't know, his re-education program, and that you were just like trying to convince him that these were all your ideas originally.
Yeah, he came up with this draconian new government. He wants to get it sounds like get rid of the government we have now and replace it with it's better if he tells you. Because it's
you don't do it.
Hilarious.
Yeah, nobody can do it justice, because I've watched a few videos and he says he's but here's the thing, he is consistent on this shit.
Yeah, Yeah, he's consistently insane. Yeah, he's
transparency.
talking about,
somebody wrote in the live chat. Yeah, he calls it transparency police, right?
Right.
But
I mean, he tried to, like you said, a lot of trolls. I got a lot of, I mean, this could go a lot of different directions. I got a lot of different ideas about what Chille is and what he isn't. But he came onto the scene trying to tell myself and a whole bunch of other people that nothing else in the world matters except for overturning the case law Terry v. Ohio.
Right, that's his big thing, right? Terry v. Ohio,
right,
for some reason, he wants to
and forget qualified immunity, like forget everything. Like that is the only thing in law and in the world and in government and in the history of the world that matters is overturn Terry v. Ohio.
What's his reasoning for that?
I don't know, because he's batshit crazy, I think.
Because I mean, I don't have a problem with Terry v. Ohio. I want qualified immunity. I mean, I don't think that it makes sense to eliminate qualified immunity completely, but it needs to have significant reductions of and the ability to lose when there has been an outright violation of people's rights.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why qualified immunity should probably be completely abolished, because really all it says is that...
I mean, okay, give me an example of that. What happened, if that would happen?
You and I don't get qualified immunity, right?
No.
If we do something wrong to someone, we're accountable for our actions.
Right, because we're not in a color of authority.
And ignorance of the law or ignorance of morality or right and wrong or whatever it is no excuse. And in most of these instances where police, in all of them that I've seen, where police are getting qualified immunity, they're almost intentionally and maliciously hurting people and saying, well, there was no specific case law that said I can't kick you in the dick while arresting you. There's case law that says I can't kick you in the left butt cheek. I mean, it really does end up being broken down. Right. It becomes that specific, you know?
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Okay, I'm going to give you some pushback on here because that's what I do with you.
Of course.
Yeah. And I'm not disagreeing with you at all, but they at least are going out and they're trying to enforce the laws, right? And so, yes, they have a better understanding and they do need to memorize the laws a lot more than the average person. But nobody's perfect, right? And people are not going to be able to memorize every single law. I agree with you. Ignorance is no, excuse. But just making a minor mistake of, I didn't interpret the law right when writing a ticket or something like that, then, yeah, I get that. Now, I do agree, though, if they fundamentally violate somebody's rights where, it is just blatant that they have gone above and beyond what a reasonable man would do in that circumstances for under color of authority, yeah, qualified immunity should be gone. And by the way, the courts have been taking away qualified immunity more than recently than I've seen. I've seen a few cases where, comes up, officer loses his qualified immunity. Like the guy that tried to run over one of the auditors. Do you see that one?
Yeah, you're probably talking about in Colorado.
I think he did try to run him over per se, but he was high speed, flashing his light on him and some other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a guy who did a great breakdown of it that articulates very well and shows very well how, like, any reasonable human being would know that what that cop did was wrong for anyone to do to anyone.
Right, totally.
But he was granted qualified immunity.
Yeah.
And that's what that case was about. It was about making sure that there was the established case law in, I believe, the 10th Circuit saying, no, you cannot specifically, you cannot shine your light in someone's eyes or someone's camera and threaten to run them over. That's bad.
You would think, right? Especially the running over. I mean,
yeah,
but he was literally granted qualified immunity because there's no specific case law that says you can't threaten to run somebody over.
Why do you need case law for that? I don't understand why there would have to be case law.
Exactly. And that's what the problem with qualified immunity is.
Go for it, Brandon.
I think police officers should be held to a higher standard. They should be held to knowing exactly how to interpret law. I don't know. It's because they're charged with. We give them authority to be able to interpret the law, so they should have to.
Well, let me ask you: do police really interpret the law? Police are usually the enforcers of the law, right? They're not there to interpret.
Well, they will. With enforcement, isn't it like side by side, interpret, enforce? Well, so they know how to enforce.
I obviously they have to understand the law and know its implications. But I think what James is pointing out, and I happen to absolutely agree with him on them. Don't tell him that I agree with him. That if they get the law wrong and they do so maliciously, because I mean, I watched this thing today where this auditor. Well, no, he wasn't even an auditor. I don't think he was just some guy that got pulled over, and he had a firearm with him. Now, when you carry a firearm and you're pulled over, you are required to present your license and your CWP. What do you have? You have to present that information. I have no problem with that, right? And so he did everything that the officer wanted, but the officers first pulled him over because he was yelling out the window something. So the officer said, "Oh, you were yelling out the window. I thought you might need help." Which, okay, once he realized he didn't need help, that stop is over. That's stop. That is over at that point. But he was asking for the license. He's like, "Well, okay, you don't really need it, but here's my license, and I have a weapon in the car, and here's this." And then he was looking for any other excuse in order to, like, I don't know, to take the firearm away or to get a ticket on him. That's malicious. That's when qualified immunity needs to just be gone, because that cop at that point should have known that stop was over after he pulled him. What the reason why he pulled him over for was no longer an issue. You can't just do a stop and then look for other things.
Yeah,
that's almost like pretextual stops. Almost.
Yeah. There is case law on that, so hopefully he'll lose his qualified.
Don't police officers have quota though, or is that like state by state or something?
What do you mean?
I know there were police officers that have quotas, like the amount of
tickets,
people they.
Yeah. I think a lot of them are shying away from that anymore because it's just been so much, hot water they've been getting into. But I mean, they might.
Not North Carolina. Don't ever get a ticket in North Carolina. They give you huge fines. You got to go to court. It's a mess. You have to hire lawyers.
Well, maybe they don't make it as noticeable. I mean, I remember back in my day. Have you ever travel up to Needles and Barstow area? That was the biggest speed trap in the United States at one time. Anybody who went to Vegas got pulled over going that route.
Steve, I just got some body cam footage of an internal affairs investigation, and then a video of the police chief firing an officer, and he says that one of the things he did wrong was he wasn't writing enough tickets. And there's no written policy or rule.
That's what I said. There's probably nothing internalized, right? Because they don't want that on record.
Right. And that's why I'm glad I got this body cam, because it just shows, look, it never went away. But you're not going to get promotions.
Yes.
And you likely will get canned for speed. They fired him for speeding. That's it.
Oh, wow.
But he also mentioned, well, you weren't writing enough tickets. And
yeah, it's such bullshit too, because look, I believe that the police need to enforce rules. I get that. But when they go out of their way to have to write a ticket merely because they have to meet some quota, the system's broken.
We're talking about a town of 800 people too. Like, there's a good chance that nobody is going to break the law all day.
Wow.
But you got to write a ticket somewhere, somehow. So.
And in my opinion, the court system is kind of messed too, because our trials aren't necessarily about guilt or innocence. It's about whose story is more convincing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I mean, in fact, I'm sure everybody here has gotten a ticket before. I know James probably has got a book of them. Now, in California, if you get a ticket, you can actually write and request, a written kind of a trial thing. But what you basically do is you contest it, and then they get the police officer side of the story, right? But if the police officer doesn't respond, then that ticket goes away. And 99% of the time, the cops never bother to respond. One, they just don't have the time. They don't give a shit. They've written it. They're done at that point. Is that how it works in other states?
Well, in Virginia, you have to show up. You have to have a trial, and if the cop doesn't show up, you automatically win.
So here you can do it written. You do it for a written trial. Yeah. But it's been, I haven't had a ticket since like 2004, I think was the last one I had. And it's usually for nothing major, right? It's always something minor, and you're like, God damn it. Yeah, I've had some fix-it tickets, and then you have to get the like, for example, let's say it's a taillight. You get it fixed, you go down to the station, you say, hey, can you come look at my car? Here, it's fixed, and they sign it, and then it gets dismissed. But an officer has to sign that you've actually fixed it. Kimawaki says, qualified immunity isn't established by any federal law in the United States. It is a judicial precedent brought about by your Supreme Court. The doctrine of stare decisis. I hate this word, but I know what it means. Precedent is a way of value. Stare decisis, is that how you pronounce it? Is where by prior rulings. That's what it means. But I hate pronouncing Latin terms. Is a stare decisis? Is that how you pronounce it, James? Familiar with that?
Oh, heck if I know.
I mean, I know what it means. I hate
looks good to me.
That. Yeah, stare decisis, I think it is. Like I said, it's by prior ruling is what it means. But
right.
Yeah, I agree. There's no established qualified immunity in any federal or even state law. It is just by precedent that's why they have it. So I don't even know how they would even formally not have it any longer. How would they even take it away for something they didn't have really by establishment to begin with? What they need to do is just say, look, this person can be prosecuted because they fucked up as an individual. Because James, what happens nowadays when people sue? Okay, so these auditors go out, right? And we're going to have a whole show on the Non Sequitur show about this particular topic. But as a kind of a pretext to it, when an auditor goes out and I'm going to sue the government for violations, blah, blah, blah. It's not the officer that they're suing. They're suing the governmental agency, which comes out of taxes, which means that the public's paying for that, not the officer, right?
Yep. And anarchists are A-okay with that because y'all like paying taxes, and I don't mind taking it.
Look, I'm not saying I'm not okay with it. I mean, I get that that's what the taxation's for, and it pays for that. But you're not harming the officer.
For me.
The officer
Taxation is for me.
He wants all of it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just give him the money directly. Screw the middleman. But my point is that the officers never held accountable. Not financially, not legally, not in their job functions. They don't get even a letter some of the times. Most of the time, they get nothing. They get okay. Just continue on.
Yep. Maybe a paid vacation. They call it paid administrative leave.
Yeah, administrative leave for a day or two, right?
Yep.
So they get a paid vacation for 3 days, and that's it. That's all becomes of it.
Yep. And I think I talked about this with you a little bit on the Non Sequitur show, where I said, yeah, definitely we should get rid of qualified immunity, but more importantly, we should prosecute criminal behavior criminally.
Yes.
When we're talking about just something civil, then sure, let it be civil. Let it just, a lawsuit, whatever. But in a lot of instances, we are talking about cases where the police did something criminal.
Yes.
And that's how they should be charged.
Well, I mean, you remember the officer, and I actually kind of do feel bad for this officer, but do you remember the officer that thought she was pulling her service revolver and ended up, she thought she was pulling a taser, and she ended up pulling her service revolver instead and shooting into the car and killing that driver. I could almost understand under adrenaline and things of that nature how those things could happen, but when you're you have that kind of training, and two, your firearm and your taser are located in very, very different direction, different placements on you, and they feel
you keep
different.
them on opposite sides of your belt. Opposite.
Yeah, I just don't know how that mentally could happen. But she was.
And one weighs a lot less than the other. It feels different. You keep it on opposite sides of your belt when you train. I mean, this woman was a cop for, I think, 25, 28 years.
She was
like that.
She'd been in force for a while. She was not
newbie. I mean, I don't know if she just the day before switched which side she carries her gun and her taser on, but I mean, I feel bad for her too.
I do, because I even then, what and I hate to say this, but what is the criminality justice there for her to have jail? What is going to be accomplished by that? I understand retribution, I understand retributive justice, but a mistake is a mistake, and we seem to punish certain people a lot more harshly than other people. There's people out there that got no jail time for far, far more severe crimes that have killed people cold blood for some reason that don't fucking get,
Even cops get away with that crap. One of my friends from church was gunned down by a cop in our little small Virginia town for not showing her driver's license, okay? The officer didn't know she had substance abuse issues and mental issues, and was yelling at her, and she just rolled up the window and drove away, and he emptied his service revolver in her back.
Which by the way, is considered to be excessive force nowadays.
Yes, it is. It was then, too, because he had responded to a trespassing call. He found her there. He tried to talk to her. She wouldn't respond. He started yelling at her, and then he killed her. They did go to trial on that, and that was in our little town. It was such a weird little thing that somehow I ended up in the jury pool, and I was like, I can't do this. I know this lady. And the cop he got 3 years, and he served less than 1.
Yeah, and I think that's something to me should have gotten far more time. You don't empty your service revolver. You don't shoot at a moving car away from you when there's no immediate danger of life.
In front of a school, in front of a school with little kids, he may need in care.
But isn't that a training issue or something? I mean, it takes what, 6 months to be a cop or something like that. I mean, they should understand the ramifications of pulling a weapon and discharging them completely. And I just don't think a lot of the officers do. They do it so indiscriminately.
There's a inside look into some training in Utah that will explain why they do that. It's fear-based training. Trying to remember, I'll send you the link later today, where exactly it came from. But they were teaching these people, like 9 guys, cadets, and the trainer is saying, "Are you ready to shoot a mother? Are you ready to shoot a child, a father, a grandmother? Because if you're not, then you need to leave right now."
I have seen something like that where they try to get them over that fear of having to kill somebody that they would find to be normally morally unconscionable, right?
Right.
That's a military training thing. That's the same thing the military would do, actually. That's
Absolutely.
probably where they got it from, by the way, because the military does that.
Desensitize you to
That's what basic training is all about.
So going back to this Chille dude, because this guy's a rabbit hole of just, oh my god! I trust me, Suzanne. If you have not seen this dude, you don't know what you're in for, because I have not seen anything like this guy since Von Helton. Okay,
I may have seen him. My son is 33. He has a pile of folks he watches. He calls them his Friday night freaks. So I may have seen this guy because I sat with him last. I was there every Friday night. We watched his freaks.
He looks like a younger version of Drew Carey with glasses or something. It's just, I mean, but he thinks, I swear to God, he thinks he is a actual constitutional scholar.
Well, you see, I have another theory. One of my theories is he's an actor. He's kind of a failed actor, but you can go back and you can see some of his stuff from years ago. Some amateur film acting that he's done.
You think he's playing a part?
I think he is. And I've talked about that a few times and said that he's not actually the most narcissistic piece of shit on the planet. He's just playing a character of the most narcissistic piece of shit on the planet. Because
that's a conspiracy theory if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, but and I feel you, but man, the extent.
Okay, I'm interested in this. This piques my curiosity. Because if he is right, he should be hired somewhere because he's good. Okay,
yeah,
he needs to be in film. But who dedicates their life to that kind of just method acting? To the point where you become your own creation.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's the only explanation that I can come up with because I've seen a lot of people that I think are a little cuckoo. I'm sure that people have seen me and gone, this guy's off his rocker too. But Chille takes it to a level that I, honest to God, have never, ever seen before. To where I'm like, this can't be real. Like, it's too much.
Well, I mean, you saw the guy had a non sequitur the other day that was a flat earther. He was a young creationist and a presuppositional apologist, and he's probably a sovereign citizen too, for all I know.
As always are.
That reminds me also, recently I heard one of your shows, I don't remember if it was here or non sequitur, you were saying that most flat earthers you think are just trolling. They're just pretending to be flat. And that's kind of what I think Chille is doing as a constitutional law scholar. I think he's the biggest, baddest, and best troll on auditors ever. Well, go out there and take what they're doing to this extreme level of narcissism.
If that was the case, okay, because he does come across as a huge narcissist suffering from the most, I would say, critical case of DK I've ever seen in my life. Because he knows nothing. He knows nothing about anything. But when you had him on and you were like, trolling the shit out of him, he was dedicated. He kept talking, and I swear to God, he would have gone for another 2 hours had somebody not told him you were trolling him.
Yeah, and by the way, that was News Now Ninja, I believe, that snitched on me.
Damn you, News Now Ninja! What was wrong with you? That was comedy gold. I was enjoying that stream. I don't enjoy much of my life, okay? But damn, I was watching James's stream, going, "This is fucking epic." I'll put the link in the video description. Because, oh my God, you guys got to see it. The first half you just talk about whatever, but when Chille comes in, I was like, Jesus Christ. Okay, because I've heard his transparency thing before. So he wants okay, Suzanne, pay close attention to this because I'm not making this shit up. But James Backman, this he wants to have a bus, a double-decker bus that goes around, and there's these transparency police that have these 360 cameras on their heads that just record everything at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So even if they go to the bathroom, they have to take the helmet off. And
no. He said they could take it off to go to the bathroom. I say they need to keep it on though. I want to see them poop.
I agree. I think it should have full accountability, transparency. So they have these cameras on, and when they see you do something wrong, they basically stop you, take you into the bus, and re-educate you on the bus to inform you what you did wrong, and you have to take a little test and pass this little recertification that you're a good citizen. I'm not exaggerating this shit, dude. I swear to God, is that not it in a nutshell?
Sounds like it belongs on Idiocracy.
Right?
Rehabilitation.
This is why I'm going to have a panel on this on Segler's show, because this is epic.
You can leave some parts out.
Okay.
There will be no guns because police violence is out of control, and I'll agree with that. But there'll be no guns. Instead, they will use these 4-foot pillows called poppers. And when you're acting up, they'll just pop you right into shape. You know.
Pew, pew, pew. Yeah. So they have these
4-foot pillows.
So they have these pillows, right? So instead of going around, armed, they're like, "Oh, you're a bad person. Let me just pop you with a pillow. Pop, pop."
Why don't they just use nuns with rulers? That worked when I was a kid.
Oh, my second grade teacher did that shit. She wasn't even a nun, and I remember getting wrapped on my knuckles because my penmanship was bad. Yeah. I swear to God, second grade. Her name was Miss Gallagher. Rest her soul. She was about 70 back then, so. But I do remember that. But yeah, so this guy has all these brilliant ideas of how to transform, government into something that is a more palatable societal contract. Now he starts talking about philosophy, and he's more of a continental philosopher, which I don't get into. I get into analytical philosophy, but I've heard him talk about like Locke and some other French philosophers that
Rousseau,
and social contracts and things of that nature. Now I don't think he really understands. Again, this is not my genre, so don't quote me on this shit. But I don't think he really understands what the social contract really is about. I mean, as far as I remember about Locke, and I haven't read much from him, but from what I do recall, Locke suggested that the government be by the people because the people wanted them to be ruled. And they give up their basically some kind of like rights or something to say, okay, we want to be ruled by the government, which assumes that the majority of the masses will want to have some kind of governmental oversight. That's a social contract that I've seen.
And I think that there's been multiple different variations of a social contract put forth by different philosophers, but all of them, to some extent, say yes, we will forego natural rights.
Yes, and comport
in order to have order.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. You give up your natural rights for order.
Right, and the extent to which we will forego those natural rights is, from one extreme to the other, depending on the philosopher.
But, we all do that, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, living in America, we do forego certain things.
I think consensually, in most of our in all of our relationships, we consensually negotiate, right? And say, well, I want this, but, I also want this, and so I'm willing to work with you, and,
Yeah.
That's, I think, because, even though we all have these inalienable rights, your rights and where somebody else's rights begin, and there's no overlap on a lot of these things. And unfortunately, that's one of the problems I do have with some auditors. I think a lot of them do overstep. I think a lot of them go beyond their own right. I think that a lot of them go beyond just exercising their own freedoms when they start harassing other people. And that's one thing I don't like about First Amendment auditing, is when they actually go out of their way to fuck people. And James, you've done this too. You don't get me wrong. But I think when certain innocent people have to deal with that bullshit. Now I understand you want to troll cops and things of that nature. I don't give a flying fuck. I'm not a bootlegger. But when innocent people start getting fucked with, I don't know. I think there's a problem with that. I think it makes it look bad for all the auditors.
Yeah, that's a matter of opinion. I think that a lot make, yes. I think I'll agree with you because everything is perception, right?
Yes.
And so one thing that you think makes auditors look bad might be something that I'm like, well, you're right, but I'll be honest with you. I'm still gonna laugh
Was
at
it
it.
okay? Again, I watch a lot of shit, so I don't remember who this was. Maybe it was one of your videos. Because you got a lot of shit, dude.
Shit is exactly what
that's a great adjective for that. No, there was a video of somebody going up to a sheriff and starting asking him the same questions that the sheriffs would normally ask us, and they went through the entire sheriff's vehicle. Was that you?
Yep.
Oh, was you?
That was
okay.
me.
Yeah, that was brilliant. I like that. That I think that was epic, dude. That was you. You handled yourself amazing. That guy was cool as shit, and when you recognized he was cool, you didn't really fuck with him any longer. Do you see you guys got along?
Yeah, I did. Well, I did. I kept pushing. And the difference too between
not the very end. At the very end, you guys left cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Right at the end, I said, I mean, but the difference between the social contract, by the way, though, and the contracts that you and I would engage in is the consent.
Yes.
And that's really what anarchists or even minarchists, I think, often have a problem with, is that you and I can consent to, I'm going to let some things go and you're going to let some things go so we can come together and, coexist together. But when we're forced into interactions and contracts with each other, that's wrong. And that's really what the anarchist point of view and perspective is. It's that I don't get to force you into a contract. I want to make sweet love to you, but if you don't want to, that's a bad example.
Well, first you never taken me to dinner. Never got roses from you. I like to be wined and dined.
And that's where the consent starts
Medical
coming
consent.
in. You're like, I don't want to sleep with him, but I want roses and dinner. So,
right. I'm hungry and I like botany. I like flowers.
I'm sorry, I'm throwing your show way off the rails now.
Yeah, you can wine and dine me, whatever. No, by the way, there is no show. This is just hanging out, man. This is a fuck all stream, man. Free for all fuckery. The link is at the top if people want to come in, by the way. But we're gonna have a more formal discussion of this. I don't know when, but soon, hopefully, on the Non Sequitur show, because I got it from people that do frauditor type commentary, right? So they're the ones that are against First Amendment auditors. And by the way, they do make some good points. Some of them are just as bad, but some of them make some good points. And I'd like to have a discussion between them and the auditors and kind of get a back and forth of what the pros and cons are, right? Because I understand exercising freedom, but there are certain auditors, like, for example, why would you have to go to like a mental health facility to audit? What good does that do?
Yeah, I feel you.
Do you agree with that? Do you think that's a little bit above? Yes, you have the right to do it, but why would you from a moral point of view?
Right. And I'll tell you this too, when I first started doing this thing that they call auditing, the first videos that I put out like long time ago was not me going and looking for an interaction with government. It was traveling back and forth between Arizona and Texas. I would go through the inland border patrol checkpoint, meaning I never crossed a border, and I'm stopped and asked stupid questions, and I feel harassed by this bullcrap. And so I made a video one time when I was stopped, sitting there questioning the guy and basically trying to poke at trying to make him understand what you're doing is even if somebody told you can do it, it's morally wrong. And of course, I was never going to reach this guy, but I had shot the video to show to 4 or 5 of my friends. YouTube was the easiest platform to upload it to. Large video files like that, you can't send them in a text message. So I uploaded it. It was set to public. 2 weeks later, it had 500,000 views. People are like, we want to see more interactions from you. I'm like, yeah, but I don't actually really have interactions with government very often. Like I do from time to time running a business. I've had them harass me about, you didn't mow your lawn. It's too long, petty crap like that I was sick and tired of. But I saw what these so-called auditors were doing. And at the time when I made that video, I had no idea what an auditor was. I was like, you know what? That looks really effing shallow. You're going into a government building with no purpose at all whatsoever, just to record to see if they'll get upset. But the more I started looking at it, I was like, well, I am pretty decent at these government interactions. And the only way I'm going to get them to show people how you should deal with government employees is to actually go out and look for it and to poke and prod and do things like this. But really, I wanted to see it done so that the right would be established, so that when you are dealing with government for official business, that you can document it, because a lot of people are getting screwed over by government in their official business, not just walking into a building for no reason to record, but when they actually are forced to do business with these pieces of crap. And they need to be able to record their own interactions. And I was kind of hoping that that would be a deeper concept that people would grasp onto. But it's
how James Freeman was born.
My husband worked for the federal government for many, many years. I can guarantee he wasn't ugly to anybody, even if he had been audited. So I assume you're doing this to like cops and that sort.
Yeah. And I haven't gone out and done this so-called auditing thing where I record for no reason in about 1 to 2 years.
Yeah, you've been more commentary now.
Yeah, and really the reason is that from the very beginning, I was like, I can see they need to establish that, right? But there's got to be a deeper concept to it than just, hey, let's see if we can trigger this guy for.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Laugh.
Absolutely. I think the deeper concept is exactly what you said it is that what happens when there's no cameras around? What happens when there are people that are actually engaging with these people and are having their rights violated? And it does happen, right? I mean, absolutely it freaking happens. Oh, absolutely. So this is my tension on the First Amendment auditing. I get it and I don't. I do watch them, as you do know. And certain ones I watch more than others. But, for example, let's look at the post office stuff, right? First of all,
oh boy,
I don't read Poster 7 as they do. And you're going to probably, I don't know if you're going to call me out of it or not, but when I read Poster 7, I don't read it the way they're reading it. Now, what I think is going to happen is this, and mark my words, I'm going to make a prediction. Because these First Amendment auditors are going in, I think they are misreading Poster 7. I think they are overstepping when they can carry a firearm. I think they're overstepping time, places, manner for limited public forums. And what's going to happen is this. And by the way, a public forum is not the same thing as a public, what do they call them? Like a public forum is a very specific term, right? A public forum is a very specific term. Just because you're in a public building, it doesn't mean it's a public forum. It doesn't mean you have the right to have this, unfettered free speech there. But yeah, what I think is going to happen is they're going to start changing these laws, and they're going to make it much more difficult for you to record in these areas now. They're going to have the pendulum is going to swing the other way, and all these auditors that are out there going, "Oh, you're infringing on my freedom," blah blah blah. They're going to have all these law changes. They're not going to know about them because most of them don't know about the law properly, and they're all going to get arrested because a lot of them are that's happening now in a lot of places. The laws are changing, statutes are happening, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know about that statute." Well, yeah, but you're in arrest for it because ignorance is no excuse. A lot of the auditors are being more arrested than ever, right? I mean, am I incorrect in this?
I think it fluctuates, and I think yes and no.
Haven't you learned about my channel? You disagree with me? That's the whole point. You're gonna make a lousy co-host, man.
Yeah, am I supposed to just always disagree with you, no matter what?
You're supposed to agree.
I can do that. I can play devil's advocate and always disagree, no matter what you say.
Hey, have you seen Steven Anderson's video and his experience when he went the internal checkpoint you're talking about? Steven Anderson is a hate pastor.
I did. I watched that one.
And I watched that one whenever I'm depressed. I watched that one.
He got arrested, right?
Yes, he got arrested. Yeah. He was really being a douche awful to everybody.
So he didn't do it the James Freeman way. He did
not.
The bad way.
Sir, what did I do wrong, sir? I'm not rolling down my window, and they took him.
Yeah, they took him.
One of my favorites.
So to your question, though, recently in Arizona, a new law was passed about recording police and saying that you have to be 8 feet away from them while you're recording. And when I first read this bill before it was passed, maybe 9 months ago or so, the wording made it sound as if not only do you have to be 8 feet away, but in order to record at all, you have to have the permission of the police to record them. And I think that a lot of people were kind of looking for some kind of specific line of how close can you be? Because cops are saying, well, they've got their cameras in our faces. Quote, they say it all the time. Had their camera in my face. When really somebody's like 20 feet away. I don't think that I've very, very, very rarely ever seen anybody cop watching get closer than 8 feet to a cop while they're in their official capacity. So on that note, this 8-foot rule looked pretty good. It's like, hey, now there's an established, distance. As long as I'm at 10 feet, I've got plenty of room. I'm even further than I'm supposed to be. I can make sure I'm in a safe, not going to get arrested. But just because if if they take away the right to do something that you had a right to do, then you never actually had that right, Steve?
I agree. I totally agree with that. Yes.
I agree with that too.
And so, I mean, just because they make legislation that says we can't do it anymore, I mean,
well, I understand. Okay, the eighth threat, is an arbitrary value, and I agree with you. Most auditors are not going to be that much closer, but I do think, and again, I'm going to side with the officers on this. When the officers have a stop, they don't need to be looking over their shoulder if somebody's like 2 feet away from them with a camera. Now, I don't see that often. I mean, I don't think I've really ever seen anybody that close, but there might be, and that there might be issues with that. And those people doing that, they are in the wrong. If I was you have to put yourself into their position as well. If you're an officer and you have a stop where there's probably the most dangerous thing an officer can do is a traffic stop nowadays.
They should just quit doing it then.
Well, no. Well,
Go on. I'm sorry.
No, you know what? I'll tell you on that. Eventually, they probably won't even have to. It'll all be automated. Unless it's something egregious for a felony, it'll just be drones. It'll just be licensed, and then they just ticket it.
Like the speed trap tickets they do now automated in various places.
I don't think they'll ever get rid of traffic stops though, because they're used as pretextual. Say the word for me. I know
pretextual.
Yes, stops to basically say, "Hey, I smell marijuana. Have you been drinking? Let me search the car. Do you have cocaine?" And so they'll never, ever get rid of the human element of that because it's business.
If we ever get, transporters like Star Trek, we won't have cars anymore one day.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for a transporter.
Yeah. But, it's funny you mentioned these pretextual stops. They're always told not to do them, but they all do. Every single freaking one of them and again, here's the thing. Yes, when you're pulled over, you're not required to answer any questions. This is true. The only thing you're required, at least in California, if you're operating a motor vehicle, you have to present your license and registration. Okay, that's true. And in certain states, they can ask you to get out of the vehicle for their own safety. That has been supported by the Supreme Court, and in some cases, even the passenger side. But again, state by state. And I think that a lot of auditors don't realize that when they're watching a video and it's in one state, and then they go try to do this shit in another state, and they're going, "Oh, you don't know, you're violating my rights." And they're like, "No, we're not. We can actually do this according to state law."
Right.
They're not educating themselves properly.
And that's where we get into rights versus legislation. Because if it varies state by state, city by city, it's really not rights. We're just talking about legislation, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that means I can write on paper that it's illegal for you to hide Jews. I mean, we can go to any extreme on that. You know what I mean? You can own black people, and because it's legal.
Well, certain things. I mean, look, I don't think the state statutes can override anything on the federal level as far as rights. Asking you to leave a vehicle for safety reasons is not a right. That the person has the right to stay in their vehicle. I think that, again, certain things are limited by time, place, and manner. And even the Supreme Court has said for Fourth Amendment stuff, illegal search and seizure, there are certain things where there are, like, let's say, exigent circumstances where they can come in if there's an emergency, and then if they find something, they can use it against you, right? Because of exigent circumstances. So there's always these loopholes. You still have the right to not have somebody legally search your property, but they will find loopholes, which, again, I think we need to have. So I was talking to you before you came in, I think, with Suzanne about there's no such thing as 100% security and 100% freedom.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's never going to happen, no matter what we do. And that's why I take the anarchist perspective, that which really only says that we stop legalizing harming other people, being the aggressor that harms others, because really that's what we end up doing when we create these governments. And I couldn't disagree with you more about it being okay. I mean, I know it's legal. I know the courts ruled on it, that a cop can make you get out of the car for his safety. I couldn't disagree with anything more than that.
Well, you talk about the driver or the passenger or both?
Either or.
Okay.
Anybody. That he gets to tell you to get out of the car for his safety, I couldn't disagree with that more. That is so wrong.
Look, I'm a little bit on the fence on it. So, I mean, I'm a wobbler on that. And the reason being is because it is your property. I mean, you're in a vehicle, but at the same time, when you're driving and you have a license, you are, again, having a social contract to give up certain, liberties is what they are more than rights. But you have to abide by the rules of the road. You have to abide by giving your license if asked, and you have to have registration. You have to have insurance. You're obliged to do these certain things. You don't have unfettered freedom like these sovereign citizens. Oh, I'm just traveling, right? No, it doesn't work that way.
And I think that just like auditors going out and doing certain things, pushing legislators to make laws that will make it so that you're not allowed to do these things. I think on the other hand, it goes both ways, to where there's a lot more people these days who are taking the sovereign citizen approach of I'm just traveling, because they've made I mean, once you do sign that driver's license, you're now actually in it.
You're in the system.
You've signed agreeing to the rules.
Absolutely.
And I think they're pushing this so far that it's pushing people to this, what extremist point of view of, well, forget it then. I won't sign the contract at all. And I'll hope for the best in court. You'll lose. But
every sovereign citizen has ever tried to use their legalese to get out of something has lost.
Right.
I don't think there's been a single case where they've.
But I see why they go to that extreme. It's like you're forcing too many things on me, and I'm like, look, I'm okay with not hurting other people. Not taking life, liberty, and property of others, but you're taking it a little too far. You get to stop me all the time whenever you want, and because I didn't use my, let's say with cause, even I didn't use my turn signal. Now you get to get me out of my car because you don't feel safe. That just sounds like absolute bullcrap to me.
So what would your recommendation be? What would you change if you had, like, for example, licensing, or insurance, anything like that? What would you change?
Oh man, you ready for my extremist point of view?
Yeah, I've got 5 hours to kill. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I know this sounds totally extremist to people, and let me pretext this with nothing's ever going to be perfect. But we created laws to protect life, liberty, and property, right? But I feel like pulling somebody over simply for speeding or not using a turn signal is kind of like pre-crime. It could possibly cause an accident, which would damage somebody's property and their person. Could, but it hasn't yet. So I'm going to take this extremist stance and say you haven't broken the law until you actually did damage someone's property, and at that point you owe restitution for the damage you've done.
And I'm going to agree with you on that. I do think that, unfortunately, when they do pull somebody over, maybe because of a minor infraction, it is pretextual to find something else.
Yeah, and the truth is,
because I live in a totally different country and have a different view of that because of what I've seen here.
What do they do there?
Here, you don't buy separate auto insurance. When you get your car inspected yearly and you pay for your yearly registration, insurance is already rolled in. So it's a good way to force safe drivers on the road. But at the same time, the cops here, there aren't very many, and they tend to be very corrupt. They don't pull you over for any of that stuff that you're talking about. And as a result, we see cars here, like I saw one the other day that they didn't have rear lights working. They had those little glue-on reflectors, and they had one working light. And do you think they would get pulled over for that? Oh, hell no. So I've seen extreme junkers that fall apart. People drive because there's literally no consequences for that besides their car falling apart.
Well, what would you guys think? Again, I think we have the technology for this now. Let's say an officer's behind a vehicle. That vehicle has a taillight out. All they do is they take a photo of the license, the taillight. They get the information and they send them a fix-it ticket. Why would they even need to stop them? What would be wrong with that?
And that goes to, why do you need to have somebody get out of the car because of a taillight? You don't feel safe. Look, if you don't feel safe,
ridiculous.
If you don't have...
I agree with that. Look, for a taillight, I get it. But I do not think they should ask the person to get out for something like that. But let's say they say, oh, officer, I do have a gun in the glove compartment. I am licensed to carry. And they say, well, can you please step out?
You already screwed up right there.
Well, here's the thing. In California, if you have I think it's in California, if you have a gun in the vehicle and you get pulled over, I think you are required to let them know immediately that you have a gun in the car. I think.
Sure, that would be a violation of your Fifth Amendment, though.
But here's the thing: you're not incriminating yourself, though, right? I mean, I agree. Your Fifth Amendment doesn't.
You never know what's incriminating you. There's so many laws, so many bylaws, so many codes, statutes. Nobody can know them all. So anything you say, you could be incriminating yourself. You could be saying, well, I just got a haircut today. Oh, well, guess what?
But what happens if the laws
haircuts are illegal?
But what happens if the law is that you're required to let the officer know and you don't? Then you've broken the law.
What's that?
If it is required that you let the officer know that you have a firearm in the car when stopped, and you don't, let's say you do invoke a fifth. Which, by the way, you don't have to be arrested to invoke your fifth. That is true. The fifth applies to anybody at any time. You don't have to incriminate yourself. You don't have to be under arrest to invoke a fifth. But if you are required to inform an officer of something that you didn't inform them during a stop, you could be held liable for that, right? And it's not because you invoked the fifth. It is just because you didn't inform the officer. Now, again, I don't remember if that was California or not. I haven't never driven in California with. Well, actually, I did. I did have my firearms in California one time when I got in the Navy. Yeah,
it sounds like California laws.
Yeah, I think California is a lot different than other states. Matter of fact, if you're familiar with the Bain Act, right?
Yeah.
California, the Bain Act. I've listened to auditors talk about, you're violating the Bain Act, and I'm like, you're in Virginia. Shut the fuck up. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
You see it too. I swear to God, the books are shit out of me.
Yeah, they just parrot things, not having a clue.
Right. I'm like, that's a California statute about the Bain Act. Right. And by the way, in the Bain Act, you actually have to have. I haven't read it in a long while, but it was like malice. I think the word was they use. It's something along the lines. They have to knowing and willfully try to violate your rights, because it's really to protect minorities and things of that nature. That they were having the rights violated. So it had nothing to do with these journalists going out there and going, you shining a light on my flashlight is violating the Bain Act in Virginia. No, it's not. Stop it.
Because there is no Bain Act in Virginia.
They think that state law applies to federal. And from what I understand, that will really only apply if there's no other law in that state that is on record that has been precedent for. Then you could probably argue, look, in the other state they did it this way. But state laws are state laws. They don't go across the states. Sure. They're not transportable like that. You can't just say, hey, sure. I'm going to file this this criminality that you did in California based upon some New York statute. It just doesn't work that way.
And I don't think they even refer to other state laws, but if there's case law, even if it's not in your district or whatever, is that the right word?
Jurisdiction.
Right. Even if the case law isn't from your jurisdiction, a lot of times lawyers will bring it in and say, like, for example, recently in New Mexico used case law out of the, what circuit are you guys in California?
Ninth Circuit, I think it is.
Ninth Circuit. Okay. Well, New Mexico recently cited case law out of the Ninth Circuit for, I think we're in the 10th Circuit in New Mexico in a case here. And so, I mean, yeah, they can use it. Yeah,
usually though, if it's not been precedented before in that.
Right, and it doesn't even necessarily. The judge won't even. They're not obligated to look at it and go, okay, well, yeah, that is precedent here. It's just something for them to consider.
More advisement.
Hey, your colleagues said this. Yeah. So what do you think?
I would think it's more informational than anything else. There was one guy I was listening to. He's actually a real lawyer. What is it called? Potential. Have you seen this guy before? Potentially Criminal?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's an actual lawyer. He's got about 10,000 subs. He's actually got some really good stuff on Chille. Because he's an actual lawyer, right? So he can tell you when Chille's like saying, no, this is bullshit. But you haven't seen it before? So
I haven't.
Who do you recommend to me and to Suzanne and from other people to find out more about this Chille guy? Because this is I swear to God, I'm hooked. I'm hooked. This guy, holy shit, dude. So who would you recommend besides Kate from Asshole Report? I really like her, by the way.
Have you heard of Flat Derp?
No.
Okay, Flat Derp got his start on YouTube making fun of flat earthers. Easy targets, low-hanging fruit, right?
Flat Derp, 2,000 subscribers. Okay. I've never heard of this guy. Teach me.
He was at about 1,000 subscribers. Right. He was at about 1,000 subs making fun of flat earthers. Because that is just the easiest thing.
Yeah, we all know that. That's low.
But so is making fun of Chille. And he's, over the last few weeks, gained his next 1,000 subscribers making little cartoons out of Chille.
Yeah, I'm looking at this.
Things that he said. Oh, it's gold.
Oh, I'm already subscribed just right now. Yep.
There's also AFA Crew.
AFA
Crew. He was an auditor, I guess I think he'll accept that term. Accountability for All. His main channel's got like 80,000 subscribers, and then he's got this little smaller spin-off channel. I think it might be at 5,000 subs now, called AFA Crew. And mostly all he does is take the comedy that Chille puts out daily and regurgitate it on his channel as the comedy.
Oh my God, I'm gonna binge watch the shit out of this. Yeah, he's got a 5.88. Because it's hard to describe this guy Chille. I get bits and pieces, right? But it's only been like a few days I've discovered this dude, and I don't even know where to begin. He's just bizarre. He's wrong on everything. He doesn't know the laws. He thinks he's a fucking genius. He reminds me of like Trump. Like all his life, he got this participation awards, and he thinks because of that, he's ready to go to the Olympics. Right?
Dude, I hate to. So Kate, Masshole Report, has gone back into his past because they've got a troll mafia and they're tracking him like a great white shark.
Right. I've been talking about that. Yep.
So some of his pictures from his child. Normally, I'd be against going for pictures from the childhood, but with Chille is a very interesting character, and I think that most people are intrigued and going, "What the fuck happened in your life that made you like this?" So anyways, they did find a picture from his childhood where he was like 4th place winner in a wrestling match.
Oh, stop
fourth
it.
Place,
Stop
4th place
it.
winner. Yep.
Stop it.
4th place isn't a winner, dude.
I was being facetious. I was joking about this, but he got participation awards and he thinks he's ready to go to the Olympics. Fun fact, it looks like it's actually true.
It's real. They've got the yearbook pictures. 4th place winner, man.
Do you remember a guy named Von Helton? Was that before your time?
Don't know.
Really? My audience remember a guy named Von Helton. He actually had a meme about him. Do you remember a meme, Karate Kyle? Does that strike a chord? Do you have Google right now in front of you? Can you Google?
Can.
Yeah, pull up just search Karate Kyle, and you'll see a guy in a gi, red gi, and they're just things like here, like I wasn't prepared for this, but or else I put it in my live chat here, but let's see here. The neighbor said my music was too loud. He won't be hearing anything for a long while. They put me in lockers. I put them in coffins. So so this meme, this Karate Kyle, was a guy named Von Helton who's been on my show a few times. This guy's batshit just as much as like Chille is. He thinks he invented the stealth bomber and that the government took his ideas and he basically drew a little triangle on a piece of paper when he was a kid, and he thinks the government saw that image and developed the stealth bomber from it. I fuck with you not, man. Yes.
These are the best people ever.
This is back then, you know, we would be talking about these things on the Great Debate community, and I know what happened to Vaughn. I think his children got like taken away and eventually got maybe put into some home or something. I don't. It's been years I've followed him. But yeah, he has this whole crew of people that just massively report of what he says and does. And Chille is like the new Vaughn or something, because these people have like, and in this particular case, I get the hate viewing. It is entertaining. I get it.
Yep. I'm looking at this karate.
Oh, it's hilarious. You know, they stole my pencils. I stole their souls, because this is the way the guy thinks. Like Von Helton, he thinks he's a witch. He got into Wiccanism or something like that, and he's just way out there. If you can think of it, he's done it. You know, he's like, oh yeah,
we need to have a dinner for schmucks.
He's a 1,000-year-old vampire too. Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah, that would be fun. We could have something like that. Von Helton would come on again. Von Helton likes me, actually.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he actually likes me. We actually get along. I think he's like, obviously a weird fucking dude, and I think he has extreme mental disorders, and he needs professional help. But I never really I never went after him personally, right? Because back in the day,
I hadn't considered that. What it was, I got to hear about this now, because I thought Long Island was kind of an entertaining YouTube channel. So what is it?
No, so his name's Von Helton.
No. Long Island Audit.
What about Long Island?
Oh, so I thought you were saying Long Island Audit needed mental help.
No.
Okay.
No, I got
I don't see that, man.
No. This guy Von Helton needs mental help.
Got it.
I got no problem with Long Island Audit. What's funny is you mentioned that I did reach out to some the anti account auditor things, the frauditor, they call them frauditors, right? And so I'm not going to say that one of the people I reached out to, but I reached out to one of these people that was very much against Long Island Audit and Erie County. What's his name? Auditing Erie County. And so I reached out to one of them, and we were going a little back and forth, and then they finally got back to me. They say, well, you know, we appreciate your interest, but we can't go on your show because of the imagery you have on your channel. We're Christians, and I guess they find it offensive.
Oh,
and I'm like, first of all, do you have any Christians come on my show? Oh my God, I've had big name Christians on my show. I did a show with Reasons to Believe for a year. Who gives a shit about imagery? It's imagery. It's not like I worship Satan, and if I did, who the fuck cares?
Satan, you know they're going to throw him in all the time.
And I was like, okay.
And everything will cause Satan, cause little imps and demons to enter you, they think.
It's bizarre. I was just like, okay, cool.
Bizarre.
Have a good day, whatever. I'll find somebody else to come on. But it was just weird because I was like, really? But yeah. So look into Von Helton, man. You want to see somebody just like Chille. Von Helton's your dude, man. Yeah.
Okay. So that would. I mean, like I said, I've never seen anything quite like Chille. So maybe it really is just an extreme mental disorder.
Do they still have a
It
encyclopedia?
is real and not a character.
Well, I think you're probably wrong on that. I've had a bet because I've seen the exact same behavior from other people. So I know that.
I guess I just don't get out enough.
Let me see if I can give you some of the things this guy's claimed.
You're that, or you're more of a shit magnet than me.
Oh no, you're up there too. Yeah, no, you actually. Here's the thing: you have more shit after you, but I have deeper quality, like higher quality. These people are dedicated with me, dedicated. And it's the funniest thing is I'm not even a controversial person. I have moderate views.
Yeah, yep. I couldn't agree more on that. That's quite moderate. You're willing to look at both sides of any coin, and you're willing to be, if you're wrong, you're willing to be told that you're wrong through reason and logic. And
isn't that the way it should be? And yet I'm the bad guy. These people troll me for what? It's like, why? What the fuck do I do? I'm like as mainstream as they come, man. I'm an agnostic, for God's sake. I'm in the middle of everything. I'm a centrist. I think that extremes are probably devalue society. I think they're problematic when you have these far way left, way right, because I can't tell the difference any longer. It's like a horseshoe theory. But I don't know why they would come to me. But what the fuck do? I don't go out there going. I don't promote moon landing hoax. I don't promote flat Earth. I don't promote young Earth creationism. I don't say anything exceptionally outrageous. I don't evaluate my own ability. I know my limitations, so I don't know what the fuck their issue is. When there's so many other people like this guy Chille, that oh my God, they could spend 5 years on this guy.
Oh yeah. I've told people before, I don't have the hardware for it, but I hope that somebody is downloading and saving every last one. He streams for hours at a time. And I hope someone's downloading and saving every last bit of it because it's gold. And he was on TikTok before he got on YouTube. And I don't know if he removed himself or if TikTok kicked him off, but he got into some trouble where some underground rapper claimed that he was racist. I don't know, I guess that blew up pretty big. Chille lost his mind over it. He started asking all of his black friends to make videos saying he's not racist.
Oh, that's how you go about doing it. Yeah.
That really works.
Yeah. Hey, you're black. Can you make a video for me? Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks, bro. Thanks, bro.
I thought about doing the same thing with Josh Abrams over at AFA Crew, because all he does is make spoof funny stuff about this guy. I was like, man, we should get a black guy, okay? And have the camera focused on his face, but then it pans a little bit and there's a gun to his head. And he's sitting there saying, Josh isn't racist. Pour water all over his face. He's just sweating.
I can see this.
Isn't racist.
Yeah, he could be sitting there going, yes, he is, Chille is my, what's Chille? I don't know. Chille's real name is what?
Chille Maria Decastro.
Yeah. But he'd be like, yes, Chille is my friend. And I was like you said, have it pull back and there's a gun to his head. He has like these battery terminals to his nipples, drowsed in water.
Reading from a script.
Right. With these cue cards, in the front with these people with AK-47s pointed at him and stuff like that. Like, Chille is not racist. Or worse, him hanging there, sitting there with a noose or something like that. Oh my God, that would be. I could get somebody to make that video if they wanted. I love comedic stuff like that, man.
Oh yeah, that's
that would be funny. Maybe
that's AFA crew all day, man. Well worth watching.
Yeah, no, I've subscribed to him now. I wish I could find that page on Encyclopedia Dramatica about Von Helton. I don't know if that site's still up any longer though, because they really did document all the fuckery this guy was saying, like being a 1,000-year-old vampire. Oh, I think he developed the internet too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, man. Does anybody got any backstory on Von Helton? It's been so long since I've looked into all his stories.
How do you spell that? VAN?
VON HELTON.
HEL.
Somebody said they copyrighted his penis. I'm not sure what that means. Oh yes, I said the P word, but I did it on stream, not before, which never has happened anyways.
Dude, so one of the things that AFA is doing to troll Chille is Chille always says his like catchphrase is "We don't stop, we don't stop," but I think it's like with a double. Anyways, we don't stop. So Josh has Chille convinced that he actually copyrighted or what is the word? Not copyrighted. Something like that. What's that?
Trademarked.
Yes,
Logo.
trademarked.
Yeah.
We don't stop. Yes. He's convinced Chille he trademarked We Don't Stop, and if he ever says it again, he's going to sue him. So now in his live streams, Chille is straight up like, yeah, that's right. And we don't. And he stops himself. He's like, we always keep going.
Always keep going. We don't slow down. Oh, you know what? I can see him doing that. I can see him believing this stuff. Because I think deep down he probably realizes he doesn't really know about anything, but he portrays this facade that he's some kind of, advanced constitutional scholar. And yet everything that I've ever seen watching people critique his stuff, they just continually point out to him all his mistakes, and he doesn't learn from any of them. He doesn't ever change anything, even after learning that he got the law wrong. Yeah. Nothing.
Hearing you talk about this, it sounds like he's just like our favorite blogger, that troll, Katie Joy, in a lot of ways. Won't stop, doesn't learn. No, all that all fits her too.
Yeah.
So many of these people.
There's narcissists. Like, okay, so Katie Joy, James, is a straight up narcissist, and I'm convinced is a sociopath. She has no empathy. She has no conscience. She's the one that falsely accused me of fraud, medical fraud, Social Security fraud, which I've never collected, disability fraud, which I've never collected, and sexual harassment. For me, supposedly, I swear to God, it started off. So she was a co-host on the Non Sequitur show for, I don't know how many episodes it was on the
hot second.
Yeah, but I only did 3 streams with her, and of course, you knew Bolinator, and he was always in the streams prior to the show. Always, everybody who's ever been on the show can testify. Bolinator was always there, and so when Kyle tried to take over the Non Sequitur show, Katie, in her infinite wisdom, decided to back him, and in doing so, said, "Oh, I'm going to throw all these bizarre allegations out there that Kyle's running, and I'm going to add in one new. Oh, by the way, Steve sexually harassed me." This was during a live stream. She was talking in the live chat, and all of a sudden, the entire chat was like, "What the fuck are you talking about, Katie?" Because I was watching, going, "What? Whoa." No. And then she started people were asking her for details. So it was like her mind was churning. What details can I give? What can I make up here? And so she came up with this cockamamie story that for some reason before a live chat that I started talking about my penis and my sexual prowess to her was reasons, because, everybody talks about that with Katie Joy, supposedly, I guess. It's like, really? And
some people, you showed her your penis, which made me laugh.
But that only came out recently. That was like a new iteration.
I know.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, where's the evidence for this? And she started saying that it was during a live stream, then after live stream, then on a private call to her, and then I was sending her death threats through email. And I'm like, I've never even emailed her on anything. Never once.
Yeah. You're going to need to bring up evidence for that, because the emails have, those are documents.
Oh, here's the thing. Aaron actually will probably be releasing some things soon that have never been made public on some conversations that Katie Joy had said that I deleted, right? She's like, oh, Steve deleted his conversation and his Twitter and all this other things. I'm like, bullshit. They're all there. They're totally on there.
You want to hear something funny about all that? When I got the letter from the attorney, the main thing they wanted was correspondence between Katie and I had to email her lawyer back and say, you should talk to your client, because the only time we ever talked was on Messenger for work, and she deleted all of it. There's nothing there.
This woman has deleted her Facebook.
It all, but they want it, but she deleted it all.
How many Twitter accounts has she deleted?
Oh, Facebook God, accounts. I can't even begin to think you.
I've had the same one for since I signed up for Twitter.
Same here, except, well, no, I got to give that back. I had a different one for a couple of months, but I picked up a persistent troll. So I had to completely deactivate my account and go away for like 6 months.
Oh,
and
God.
it was a bad one, a bad troll. A troll that was sending me cease and desist and all sorts of stuff. And I was trying to stay away from the person. It's a pretty crazy situation.
You've had some nutters too. But Jane,
oh, yeah. That's why they're all at Jerks for Jesus, my site where I stick all the crazies.
You got to put them. So you got to isolate them.
Yeah, right? Isolate them.
So she claimed that I deleted all the Twitter things to her. Well, here's the thing, James, as you probably know, Twitter saves all that server side.
Right.
And so I downloaded all my JSON data, and I have all of our conversations. They're not public yet. They will be. I will make that promise to you all. They will be made public. And guess what's not in there? Anything to do with sexual harassment. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. As a matter of fact, it actually shows when I invited her on. That she came on willingly. There was never, because she had said, I told Kyle I didn't want to be on the show with him any longer. That was a flat out bullshit lie. And so, I was like going, hey, this woman's making this shit up. And if she does it to me, she could do it to other people. Well, people back then didn't know her very well. And Suzanne, what does she do now? She makes up shit to other people. Like,
she always does.
Just absolutely fabricates it.
Is there?
Yeah, she sure does.
Yeah,
and that's why she's being sued.
Multiple times she's being sued.
Up again.
How many people watch her?
She's got 275,000 something subs or something.
But when you go into her live streams, there aren't that many people watching, and there's almost
a couple hundred. Or
it was my producer it was Boolinator that actually helped her start on YouTube. She had 0 subs when she came to the Non Sequitur show, but then she latched on to this Duggar thing, and so her modus operandi is basically throws as much shit against the wall and get as many hate viewers as you can.
Yeah. I heard you talking about this when the show started. I was getting all prepped up and brushing the beard, and listening.
You look great, by the way.
Thanks. It's for you.
I know. He always does something up for me. He makes me look pretty. I'm not sexually harassing you, by the way. You've given me consent.
I was going to ask about that too. Like, dude, I usually make sick comments all the time. Like I did one earlier today where I was like, I'm just trying to sleep with, Steve, and as long as it's consensual, and you're like, take me out to dinner, buy me flowers. Like, dude, I only do that to men now because I'm so scared of getting in trouble for sexual harassment. And I'm like, well, I can guarantee I ain't gay. So if it ever comes down,
yes, I look, I have there are actually people in my live chat that I've actually, hung out with in hotel rooms. They can safely say that I'm straight as can be.
What is the line then? I sometimes, if it's not wanted, right? But how do you know if it's not wanted unless you ask first, right?
Well, here's the thing. For example, I'll give you a perfect example. I have a dear friend who I adore. Her name is Christy Santiago, aka Higher Frequency. She is a YouTuber. She has a group called League of Extraordinary Atheists and Humanists, Leah, that I'm a mod for, and she's been on the show many times. And I worship her as a goddess. And I even asked her, even though I know her exceptionally well, we've had some, really amazing conversations and full consent to talk about whatever we want. She's married. She's gay. So she has a wife who I adore. But I told her, I said, hey, when you come on the show, can I introduce you as like a beautiful sexual goddess or something like that? Is that without, and she's like, you better kind of stuff, So even I know she wouldn't care because we have that rapport. Yeah. I still want to make sure that, it would not be a problem. Right. So there's nothing wrong with asking,
Yeah. And I don't know, there's some people, I grew up loving comedy. So to genuinely try to hurt someone or make them uncomfortable, that's one thing. But I like comedies. So,
Right, me too.
you know, if
Same
everybody
here.
thinks it's funny, if you're not offended, if you're just laughing with me, then
Well, we all grew up that way with dark sense of humor, and back then nobody
Yes.
was that's as sensitive as they are now. I mean, the best
Right.
the best comedians were a little bit over the top.
right.
And there's
Right.
humor in every kind of, like, you know, how they say, oh, you can't say that about that race. There is nothing more funny than stereotypes that
Right.
are real.
Because you're mocking the fact that people do that, and you're pointing out there are certain things that we seem to observe, and we're just making light of that. That's how it
Right.
there's no, as I think James pointed out, it's not meant to be in any harm. When you're doing comedy and you harm somebody, that's not funny.
Yeah.
You know, but people will laugh at certain things because it's a coping mechanism, and plus we just notice certain things about society, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. There are differences, and we should celebrate those differences. And comedy is one of the ways to do that. If done,
Used to be.
you know,
Everything's getting canceled nowadays, man.
I hate
Not
that.
now.
I hate. Look, and it's so funny. I am against cancel culture, and yet I'm doing a show telling people don't to hate watch. But
I know.
I see the irony, right?
Oh, my word. It's getting darker here. I'm gonna have to
But
get out
but
my
here's the
ring
difference. There are people that actually harm people, and those are the people that are not.
light. Oh, I know
funny.
they are.
Those are the people that are not people that we should be watching. If you're harming people, I am against those types of people. I am for canceling them. I'm straight up for canceling people that harm people. Why would we not?
Absolutely.
You know, I don't know. I think there's got to be a line there, though. For example, anybody can choose to be. That's kind of where cancel culture comes from: is people choosing to be offended by things that were not meant to be offended.
Right. But that's the difference.
So,
They're
yeah.
choosing to be.
I could sit here and say that I'm offended by the fact that you want to cancel people, and therefore you should be canceled.
But let's say you're actually
Because it
going.
hurt my feelings.
Let's say you're actually going out. You're doing these deep dives on people. You're using the information you find on sites that are not meant to be used to harass people, and you're going out and you're actively harming and harassing people. I have a problem with that.
Well, then the crime would be harassment. The crime
Yes.
wouldn't be, So in that instance,
Because they did break the law, because if you use information you find on certain sites that you have to pay for, it specifically says in that service that you're not using it to harass them.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
You
don't
have
know
to
that.
agree to that.
You have to agree to that.
I have
yeah.
a lot of trolls too, though, and I've never tried to take any of them down. Even people who tell blatant, outright lies about me. Dude, if you look up news stories on James Freeman, you can find the name James Freeman attached with a pedophile that was arrested. You can find, all kinds of stuff. And so people have taken and cut and edited and thrown it together. And what they're doing is probably borderline illegal, right?
Yeah.
Slanderous. But I don't know, man. It just doesn't seem to help to really go after them. You let them do what they're going to do.
Well,
You
yeah,
know,
no. Look. What are you going to do? Go after them, right? I mean, I don't say like actually do anything. I'm doing it passively. I'm suggesting don't watch. That's a passive thing. I'm not advocating any kind of active shit whatsoever. Which is funny because I got accused of shit. Suzanne got accused of shit. Aaron from EK People Suck got accused of shit. Tina from Patterns of Problematic People got accused of shit. None of us did anything.
All the time. None of us
Nothing.
did it.
And we all are accused of shit that never fucking happened.
And it's crazy because all I ever did was try to help that stupid woman. And now I regret, I trained her at work and everything.
Unfortunately, drama pays.
And I hate that. I really hate that.
Yeah, I heard you guys again earlier before I jumped on talking about, why do people watch that? And I'm telling you, there's a large audience, especially in the U.S. I don't know about around the rest of the world that they live and die for that shit, for drama and seeing other people's pain and suffering and sorrow.
Yeah, and I don't like that. When I started on YouTube and we had a group of the Great Debate community, there were people that we would quote go after, but it wasn't like we were actually what we were doing exactly what people were doing with Chille. We talked about what they said, right? We talked about what they said and said, "Oh, look, this is hilarious. They're stupid as shit." It was never personal. They would come on my channel, right? I got along with the people that we would mock. There was a rivalry there. Don't get me wrong, but none of them said, "Hey, I'm not going on Steve's show." I'm like, "Come on all the time. Come on my show." And we would talk. We would have multiple times these people would come on because it wasn't personal with them. I didn't make it about them. I didn't go after them and say, "Hey, I'm going to call your work. I'm going to call your landlord. I'm going to find out where you live." Nothing like that was ever remotely something I would consider. But other people started doing that. And I want nothing to do with that. I want
yeah,
no
they
part
sure
of that.
did.
Yeah.
I can think of a certain creator that tried to get his moderators to come here and stop my ass. And it's kind of like,
so I mean that goes way beyond what we used to do by what you would consider to be like lighthearted kind of white trolling, or at least going after a person for what they say. And I miss those days. I had a friend of mine come on the other day, Hogtie Champ, and he's one of the most brilliant men I've ever met in my life. And we were just reminiscing about that. We're like, oh my God, we miss those days of just doing what I see people were doing with Chille. And maybe that's why I'm kind of drawn to this particular dude and the people that are talking about him, because it's nostalgic. Because I remember this is what we do to people like G-Man, and we had Rocket Ronnie and Von Helton. But then they got old school. It just got monotonous, and people have gone way beyond the pale. The channels that are still be doing this 4 years later with those people have gotten vicious and vile and morally reprehensible. And I just cut off ties with anybody having to do with any of those people any longer, because they are no longer just talking about the issues. They are really making it personal. So
you've always run a pretty respectable show, and that's why you're able to get people to come on. There's no way Chille will ever come on my show again, because I treated him like shit.
You did. You straight up did, dude. Oh my God, you fucking.
You see, I gotta even when you disagree with people, you're respectful to your guests on your show, which is something on the Fake News Network I just don't do. Anyone's game.
But here's the thing, though. You don't portray yourself to be something you're not. You know what people are going to get in. They know what they're getting themselves in for. Although you were straight up like, I'm not trolling you, Chille. I'm not trolling you. I'm like, oh my God, this is like.
Who would troll this? These are such wonderful ideas. Tell me more about the re-education bus.
Oh my God.
The re-education bus.
He's dead serious.
Out of either Suzanne, idiocracy or
he's got presentations on this shit, like full on.
Oh my God,
diagrams of how this bus should be broken down. He's got like the abusers on they go to the top level of the double decker bus for re-education.
Yep.
Here, let me put the video. I hope this is the right one. Let me see. Let me make sure this is the video. What's it called? Yes. Did you know that James Freeman is an a-hole? I love that damn title.
So, yeah, you've arrived. Someone's called you an a-hole.
Well, no, it was me. I titled it that. See, some people didn't know I was an a-hole. And
we knew. We all know that.
Well, yeah, when I would do certain things, though, they're like, oh, James, I've been watching you because I respected you, but I just lost all respect for you.
What? Wait, what?
I had somebody say that one time because they said I shoved my cat away. I was like, said, well, you need to unsubscribe because you should see what happens on the day I clip their claws. You would.
Oh my God! You know, it's so funny when I watched this video. Did you know that James is an a-hole? I was like, this is exactly what I expect James to do. I would expect no less. This is what you're getting yourself into when you watch James.
The thing is that my audience that watched me like mess with and troll cops. They were like, oh, he trolls cops. He's a good guy. I'm like, no, I'll troll anyone.
Yeah,
you're fair game, man. Like, I'll troll my mom, just not that hard.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like I said, you know what you're getting yourself in for with James. I mean, even when James like text back and forth, we there's some trolling going on there, and it's fun because James has got a sense of fucking humor, right? I appreciate that. And again, no harm to this guy Chille. Again, I think he's harmless. I really do think he's harmless. I think he's a harmless kook.
Well, and when I brought him on the show too, and when I was teasing him and poking fun at him and trolling him, like I didn't have any malicious intent, but I was like, dude, he's got to know that this stuff is ridiculous. And maybe after I troll him like this, he'll even look at it and go, you know what, this is kind of crazy.
No, but he didn't.
No, and it was after that I realized I was like, oh man, I really stepped in it here with this guy.
You know what I heard him say? And I don't remember what video this was on, okay? Because a lot of people have been talking to this guy, and I've been kind of binge watching. So I'm a little confused of who said what. So forgive me if you're out there, and this was in your videos. But he actually said this, Suzanne, that GBH is not a date rape drug.
Oh my goodness.
So what is it then?
First he says alcohol is the date rape drug. So women are, I guess, if they go out and they get, they drink and get drunk, that's guys, date raping them. Not creepy at all, is that? But he said that GBH is basically a euphoric thing that makes people feel great and have great sex on. Nothing creepy about that, right?
I don't think it is, though.
I don't know.
It makes you have sex in your sleep.
I don't know. I've never had GBH. I've never
the only sex he's ever had is with somebody on GH.
Possibly, right? This is what I'm saying. It's a little bit creepy, right? That this guy's talking about GBH. It's like, it's not a date rape drug. The alcohol is a date rape. So when I put GBH in their drinks, it's not the GHB. When I put the GHB in their when I put the GHB in their drinks, I'm not being rapey. It's the alcohol that's causing that.
The GHB just makes them be asleep.
Yeah, it just makes it better. You know, it's just a good night's sleep afterwards. That's all.
I guess if you like sleeping with a corpse.
Oh my God! I swear to God, he was saying this. I think it was on Masshole Report channel. I think it was. That's what it was. Masshole Report. And I'm like, this can't be true. This is why when you said that he was acting, that would make sense to me because that's so beyond what any reasonable harassment person would even say. That a troll would say that, but I think he believes it. I think he actually believes it.
Ow!
I'm trying to Google GHB now.
Yeah, I don't remember what the chemical name is. He by the way, he's one of those people that he said the chemical name right instead of just saying GHB because we all know what GHB means, right? But he reminds me of this guy Rocket Ronnie who would always say the technical name to make it sound like he knew more what he was talking about. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck what GHB stands for. I don't remember. Yeah, I know it's a chemical, but we just say GHB. That's it. Who gives a shit? You know.
9 things you should know about GHB.
Well, according to him, it's not the date rape drug, so gamma hydroxybutyrate. There you go. Okay.
Yep, there you go. That's what I'm looking at it too.
Yeah, but that's what he was saying. He was like, gamma hydroxybutyrate is not a date rape drug. I'm like, why don't you just call it GHB like everybody else does, you know?
All right. So main uses: an alleged serial killer has appeared in court accused of drugging and murdering 4 young men he met on gay websites.
With GHB? But it wasn't that. It was the alcohol. No. It was the alcohol, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. With GHB.
I got to get Masshole Report on. But like I said, she had to go to work. She probably will be listening to this later. But this was a hangout that she had. I remember it now. And she stopped it. And I don't know who she had on, but they're like, what the fuck? That is like, who says shit like that? I don't know, man. If that's not...
That is crazy.
And it's so funny, James. I have been accused of being a rape apologist for nothing because I had News Now Houston on at one time who I had no contact with pretty much afterwards, right? It was just I had him on one fucking time to talk auditors because I do have an interest in auditor. But I had a Catholic woman try to label me a rape apologist because I went after the Catholic Church for moving pedophilic priests around. And so she was so hurt by that she decided to have, because I had News Now Houston on saying that, because there's a rapist and all this other shit, I'm a rape apologist. And she got all the facts wrong. Like, go figure. And yet you have this guy talking about GHB not being a date rape drug, and they say nothing. You know?
Did you even know what you were stepping into when you had News Now Houston on?
Very little. Here's the thing. I just don't fucking care. Like I always said, I will have on who I want, when I want, why I want, and I had him on to talk about auditing. That's it. And I will have anybody I want on. Look, you might have shit on your past, and people are like, James Freeman is this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. First of all, I get along with you fine. But, if they had any real evidence against you that you did anything that I define to be morally egregious, okay, show me. But nobody ever fucking does.
Yeah, I'd be the best source to go to. I can show you all the worst shit.
You know your own shit.
James, go after Katie Joy, and I guarantee you she'll find something that she will
go into your background. Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. I'm okay with the truth.
Crazy stuff.
I'm okay with the truth being put out, too. But, more often than not, they can't find enough truth to make you look bad, and just make shit
and that's when they make shit up. Yeah, exactly. That's Katie Joy's thing. Her modus operandi is she'll find whatever she can. She did a deep dive on me. She had other people do deep dives on me. And here's the thing. I've got an immaculate record. I work in loss prevention. You don't think they do background checks for that shit?
Yep, they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
She did the same thing.
I got a copy of the report.
Right.
She did a deep dive on me, and she couldn't find anything. The only thing there is the time that I got a pile of parking tickets in the downtown where I lived. But that's literally it.
But here's the thing, Suzanne: when they can't find anything on you, that's when they start making shit up.
Weird shit.
Right?
That's what she did.
Yeah.
I turned into the stalker of hers.
Oh no!
The government does the same thing. Actually, when they can't find anything real to prosecute you on, but they're annoyed with you, then they make shit up.
Well, that's the same thing with pretextual stops, and that's the same thing with a lot of these false charges of people. They'll even if they know they don't have a case, they can prolong it for a year or more and file charges and wait till the very last day, and then okay, you have another 30 days, you have another 60 days, okay, because of the statutes of when you have to file. They'll wait till the very last minute, and knowing people may not make their court case, they know how to play the system. Absolutely.
It's their system.
Yeah.
It's their system. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I don't think James wants to go down the rabbit hole of fucking Katie Joy. It wouldn't be worth his time.
Like I said, you'd find out stuff about yourself you would never thought of before. That's Katie.
Yeah, but it's a totally different circle. I mean, Katie goes after soft targets, right?
I know she does.
Yeah, she goes after people that she knows can't fight back very well, and so that wouldn't be
or
James.
maybe not educated. She goes after some of those too. I think that's what her subscribers are too, as well.
Yeah, I try to bully bullies.
Oh, Katie, she's the worst. She is literally the worst. If I had to say the worst human being I've ever met in my life, it's Katie Joy. Worse than Kyle.
Well, maybe I'll start trolling her on my fake news network channel.
That would be wonderful.
I'm not advocating for anything. Again, I'm passive because look, Steve got James on to go after Katie. No. I'm literally saying, look, I don't think anybody should be hate watching her. If you want to find out about Katie,
no hate watching.
Yeah. So I want everybody to please stop hate watching people, and then not just Katie, everybody. Stop.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: watch the people that will suffer for us. The people that have taken upon themselves the sins of humanity. They're acting like Jesus right now to take upon our sins by watching Katie destroying their own brain cells and their health and their humanity. This would be Aaron. This would be Manel, and most importantly, Llama Girl. And I'll get you all the information. But Llama Girl, oh my God, that woman, she's a gem, absolute gem. But all you have to do is watch them. You don't even have to watch Katie. Don't ever even go to her channel. Just watch them if you want to find out.
She does all the great clips on those.
Okay. Yeah. So you were saying she live streams, right?
Oh, like all she ever does is live streams. Because here's the thing: she has a child that she never spends any time with whatsoever, and she uses him as a shield. Because anytime you go after her, she always is like, "Oh, I'm the mother of a medically fragile child, so I can do no wrong. You can't come after me. I'm protected." And she will stay on streams for 4, 5, 6 hours. 16, 17, 18 hours out of the day. She'll stream on YouTube, then go to IG, then go to Facebook because they're all monetized.
Crazy.
Speaking of monetization, where's the super chats? Why aren't they coming through?
Who?
On your show here right now.
I had one. I don't get that many super chats on this channel.
I thought I'd just been missing them.
I hear you.
No, I don't get a lot of super chats.
Way. If somebody super chats me, it's awesome, but I'm not going to beg for it like some do.
Exactly. I like memberships, and I have Patreon, and then I'm happy to get super chats on the Non Sequitur show. I do get a lot of them. But for this particular channel, I don't get a lot of them. It depends on the topic, but I do it because it's fun. But I would love for people that are members. That's the big thing. If you want to support the channel, become a member of the channel. So.
I was just trying to plug that you can super chat there real quick. I know you won't do it.
I suck at self-promotion. This has been a long-standing fact. I really do.
You're not going to sit here and e-bag, so I'll sit here and e-bag for you, you know?
Remember to say those things. And remember to say, hit like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications.
It's not like James. It's not like James doesn't have a 250,000 subscribers where he can invite me on a panel and we can have discussions on his channel, and then people come over and subs to this channel. I mean, just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do more stuff on live streams than on the main channel, but you're welcome to come on the live stream channel.
Yeah, exactly. You only have 13,000 on that channel. That's still pretty good.
Yeah, and the thing is that I just try to keep things on the main channel very, very, very specific.
About your live stream channel. I
mean, even when I do a live stream that's related to the genre that I'm in, people still get upset. They're like, "What is this? Is this live? Why are you all jumbled? Why don't you know?" Because when I edit, there's no stuttering, there's no breaks, there's no ums. It's all cut up.
Right.
The vocalized pauses. Yeah, I used to do that with Kyle.
Absolutely.
When I cut for the podcast, I swear to God, I had to go in and I would take out all his ums. And I got so good at it that I could recognize the just from the waveform of the audio.
Yep.
And I knew exactly what to look. And I would say most of the time I was right, and I just cut that little out. And so it made him seem a lot smoother when he was speaking because he had a lot of vocalized pauses. So if you actually look, I swear to God, go back and watch some of the original episodes, listen to the podcast, and then listen to the YouTube version. They're not the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. That's what we do, man. We edit ourselves to make it sound like we know what we're doing, you know?
I don't do that. I'm more artistic.
Yeah,
I'm one of these people. I fly by the feet. I fly by the seat of my pants in so many things. I always have.
Yeah, and by the way, my mods support me too. I mean, like Middlemas Page, huge supporter. You know, she contributes to. Tom is a huge supporter. Team Tom 34B. He does it through like PayPal and stuff like that, and then I will say his message to people. But yeah, I mean, I have people support in their own way, and it doesn't really matter whether they financially support me. The fact that they show up, hey, that's awesome.
Yeah,
you know, because my mods don't get anything out of it, really. You know, I mean, they do because they want to.
Attaboys.
Yeah. And by the way, I lost like 12 mods like recently. But here's my thing on that. None of that, not a single one of them ever came to me to get my side on anything. And at that point, I don't want them as mods, right? If you're not willing to even hear my side out, fuck you. You know, I'll be straight up. And I'm Suzanne. You probably won't mind me talking about this. Suzanne, at one time, me and her had possible something going on, and I said, "Hey, let's talk about what's going on." Find out it was completely we had everybody had misconceptions about everything, but she was willing to talk to me about it, and I have the utmost respect for her because of that.
Yeah, I had to approach you about it, Steve, because it wouldn't have been all right to just unfriend you, block you,
and I love
and then
you
tell
for that.
everybody else. Because that's the most immature, stupid thing anybody could do.
You have my unadulterated support almost in perpetuity, so to speak, because of that. I've always asked people to do that, and you were one of the very few fuckers that ever did, and I love that. And I so appreciate it. I really do. It meant a lot to me. It really did, because other people don't give me that consideration, and it's like, you know what? Yeah, don't call me a friend, and then not even want to hear the actual facts of the matter out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Was it that instance where I accused him of sexual harassment against me?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when you.
Stephen is magic weenie that he goes all across all kinds of states. So
my weenie's been everywhere, I guess. Yeah,
it's magic. It is magic.
I was telling my subscribers one time, like, Steve must have the biggest one on the planet. If it went all the way from California to Minnesota.
I just talk about it all the time. And here's the funniest thing, James. I'm ex-Navy, right? So I have a potty mouth. All right, I'm a sailor.
Yeah, of course.
Navy guys don't say the word penis. It's just we don't. We just say cock. We say dick. We say schlong.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Penis is not a word that Navy people say. So her whole story was just bullshit. If she said, "Hey, yeah, Steve was talking about how massive his cock is," okay, at least I can at least go, "Yeah, that's something a sailor would say." But
yeah, it sounds.
But she doesn't know anything about the topic. She doesn't know anything about me. She knows that's just something I would just not. That's not a word I would use in that context.
You have a Discord, Steve?
I have two.
Okay, my name in Discord is actually Firecock, and it's a picture of a big red rooster on the moniker.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I wouldn't say penis either.
Yeah, guys just don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a crazy story, and I watched her change it 2 or 3 times in the time I knew her, too, so it was like... In fact, the last time she was telling me that, I actually asked her, and I saw later on this thing that I'd done it, said, Steve who? And I was like, oh, that's Steve. Because she'd talked about so many people, it was getting really confusing.
And even worse than that, when she took out 3 false temporary restraining orders, James, between me and 2 other people, content creators, trying to silence us, right? So in order to get this temporary TRO in Minnesota, all you have to do is just give reasons. They don't check in anything. They don't check the veracity of anything. It's just a signed affidavit that this is the case. Then you have what's called an ex parte temporary restraining order granted, called a TRO in Minnesota, and then you can either try to fight it, or if they don't, then it becomes a permanent RO for 2 years or whatever it is. And so I actually fought it because I was like, this is bullshit. And you can lie in your affidavit. My attorney had said you can lie in your affidavit for a restraining order in Minnesota, and there's no ramifications. Bizarre, but whatever. But
bizarre, you're right.
In order to get this TRO, James, this is what she said. I swear to God as my witness. She said that one of the things I had done was I took photos of her and her child. Now think about this. You're telling a judge for a restraining order that somebody took photos of you and your child. This connotes the imagery that you're like literally stalking this person with a camera outside their house or something, taking photos. Correct? Would that not mean what it would apply to you?
Yeah, that's what I would assume.
But
I mean,
no, that's not what she meant. She quote meant that I found images of her in a public forum like YouTube or Google that I used in my videos. That
this sounds like Chille Decastro stuff.
Yes,
actually.
yes.
Yes,
you see the pattern? You see the pattern?
Yeah. He tried to get a temporary restraining order against that Kate at the Masshole report.
Yes, Masshole report.
Kate
right.
went out and did to him what he does to government officials.
Right. Exactly. Similarity there, right? And
he acted like a government official. He acted like a cop. He battered her, which in New Mexico by state law means unwanted touching.
Yes.
By the way.
Yes.
I don't know. There's different legislation for assault, battery, like by state, it varies. Like in Arizona, I think assault was unwanted touching and battery was, I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah, usually assault, a battery is a form of assault. Battery has to involve contact of some kind.
Yeah. But yes, he battered her the same way that a cop would do.
He was found guilty, by the way, right?
What's that?
He lost his court case, right?
He did lose it.
Yeah.
And it's recorded too. It's amazing, dude.
Yeah, he tried to use all these.
There as a constitutional law scholar, knowing everything about everything, and
lost it.
Was that the case where he wrote all the statutes on the back of like a piece of paper?
I'm not sure. I only heard audio.
I don't know. I'm gonna talk to Kate about that because I think one of his videos he was showing like the legal documents for the TRO or whatever it was, and in the back of it he was writing down all the statutes from other states that he was going to use in his constitutional law scholar knowledge to try to just show the judge how much he knew and that he was going to win his case. And the other thing that Katie said she had like 29 things in her affidavit. 29 of them had errors, but. The very first thing she had told the court in the affidavit was that when we were in a room together, when the host of the room left, which was Kyle, I had sexually harassed her. Now, I've never been in the state with this woman. I've never been in the same state with this woman. When
I was trying to say when she kept saying about your penis.
Yeah, when she said room, it was a call like this, like StreamYards, although it was a V call, but same
chat
thing.
Room.
Chat room, right? And nobody calls them chat room since AOL.
Yeah.
But again, the judge doesn't know any of this shit, right? They don't care. It is what you put on the piece of paper. That's all they have to evaluate whether they're going to grant an ex parte TRO. I can get one against you right now by saying you threatened me with a handgun, right? Mm-hmm. And then I have to go prove it in court, right, to demonstrate that there was some veracity to it. But if I lied in an affidavit in Minnesota for some whatever reason, I can put that down that you threatened me with a handgun and get a TRO against you. It's bullshit.
Yep.
It's really bizarre.
It is strange.
This is why we need more government.
Yeah, I know you love government oversight, right? Yes. Isn't that what Chille advocating? He's advocating more government and tyranny of individuals and citizens to take away their freedoms in order to secure their freedoms. How does that work?
Yes, absolutely, and he doesn't even seem to realize it. Yes, he's talking about a full-on totalitarian. I mean,
totalitarianism. That's exactly what he wants.
Yep.
That's statism to an extreme, is it not?
Yes, it is. There's not a more extreme form of it. No, yeah, that's.
Oh my God!
And his real beef with me, by the way, from the very beginning, was that I was calling him a statist, which a statist is someone. So there's two different definitions. One says that you want the state to have more power,
right,
but that's relative to whatever state you live in and how much power your state has right now.
Yeah.
And then the real definition is that you believe that the state should exist at all. So, I mean, he could have just said, I'm a minarchist or I'm a constitutionalist. Therefore, yes, I'm a statist by that definition.
I'm okay with minarchy.
Sure. And we'll call it statism light, but
that's good.
But by that definition, it's still statist,
But he's definitely not just your general statist or minarchist. He wants full on totalitarianism, authoritarianism, not even fascism in a way.
Yeah.
The only thing he needs is like the government controlling production. You know,
right?
and
I think if we really pried, we'd get to that point where he would.
Does he have a manifesto somewhere I can read? I know he's got a video on it, but I mean, does anything I can read that he has out there?
I don't think so. He said he was building a website and an app. He's building an app, and once his app comes out, by the way, there will be no more evil done in the world.
Oh, he's going to be the savior of mankind.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, well, what does that look like?
I did message him. I don't know if he's ever going to get it. I don't. Like I said, I did invite him to come on. Not this particular stream, but I mean, if he ever wants to come on and have a conversation. But here's the thing: he doesn't do panel discussions because I saw how much he hated the fact that there was 3 people in that discussion, you and some other person, or I don't know who it was. But yeah, he was just not having that.
Right. And I already knew that he was like that. He has to control every single situation and every narrative. I mean, even worse than any of the worst cops I've ever seen. He has to control everything. And
like a true narcissist.
Yes, absolutely. And to an extreme, again, that I've never seen. So I already knew that he wouldn't likely stay on the panel unless I kicked everyone off. So I acted like a dictator and told people, nobody interrupt Chille. And when somebody did say something he didn't like, I was like, that's it, you're out.
That is, you know, it's so funny. There are certain groups of narcissists like that are very much like that, that if they don't have full control of the forum, then they won't participate.
That's right. Yeah.
People out there can think of their Dark Dawkins right now.
Sure. Reality TV show asked for asked for Katie Joy to come on. Dr. Phil. A lot of people had contacted the Dr. Phil show about her a couple of years ago, and they wanted her on, but she refused to go because she said they were going to make her look like a villain.
Yeah. By the way, I will say it right now, and Dr. Phil would never do it, but if she ever did go on, I would go on that show. I would confront her. I am no longer living in fear of that fucking woman, even though I never was in fear. But I mean, I had legal costs. I had fucking to defend myself because of her blatant lies against me. I've served her. I've had to deal with so much bullshit from this woman. I'm like, I don't fucking need to deal with anything more. Now I don't fucking care because one, I have a job now and I don't have to fucking rely on YouTube and I just don't give a shit if I lost my fucking channel over this bitch. I don't care. I don't fucking care. She needs to be fucking called out for the horrific things she has done, not just to me, okay, but to other fucking people. And if she does it to us, she can do it to you. I saw what she did to Tina. I saw what she did to Aaron. I've seen what she's done to you. I've seen what she's done with this McRae, Vaughn McRae, which beyond measure is one of the most morally reprehensible things she has ever fucking done. That's worse than the Gabby Petito things.
The worst. How
do you, James, you are a troll, but would you ever troll a grieving fucking mother? Would it be, you have
call her an egg donor.
Because you're not a fucking psychopath. That's why.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit, animated right now, and I apologize, but not apologizing, but I am sick of her fucking shit, and so many people could have stopped her along the way, and nobody bothered to. They just let it go because they were like, "Oh, she's just a blogger. She's just a YouTuber. She's dangerous as fuck when she harms a mother of a grieving family." I got major issues with this, and then makes it a racial thing.
How did she harm the mother of the grieving family?
Because she's been harassing this mother nonstop. The mother has a child that's in a vegetative state coma. And it was an unfortunate suicide attempt, and she has been trying to go after this mother, saying the family's trying to murder him. First, she actually said he was murdered. He's not dead. They didn't, but that they slipped him Special K or Kratom.
Kratom. Yeah, it was what she was saying.
And none of the, there's just no basis of reality in any of this shit. She makes up stuff just for shock value. And the mother is not a YouTuber. She's not a personality on the internet. She's, not a public person. And she's like, why is this woman attacking me? Because she's done it to other people. She did it to Todd Chrisley.
This is her jam.
Yes, this is her jam. She'll attack people and then get this narcissistic supply off of it because she's a fucking trauma and death vulture.
Yeah, I'm curious. See, this is what happens when you talk about people. What's her channel called?
Without a Crystal Ball. And I see. Here's the thing.
Is she getting a lot of views when she's talking about this grieving mother?
Got about 1,000 views.
Oh,
she got 1,000 live.
That's irrelevant, though. It really
and
is.
one of her, several of her viewers have said that they're going to make sure that this mother gets no more financial support from the state. They're going to harass.
Yeah, they're going after her financially.
All kinds of weird stuff.
Yeah, she'll get she'll get in between 40 to 100,000 views on the video as a whole. But TomTom has asked, what did she do about the Gabby Petito case?
That is.
Do you remember the details on that? Because
she just relentlessly, every single day, it acted like she actually said at one point that something about she had Brian laundry in her basement.
Yeah, I remember that.
And when the cops showed up, well, of course she didn't have Brian laundry in her basement. He would be in Minnesota. So she does all this just really weird stuff. And she just would take the most sensational parts of the case and make it seem much worse than it was on so many levels. You're just watching this going, this woman is
no consideration for the family. None whatsoever.
None. No consideration for the pain any of them may have been feeling.
Because she's lacking empathy. She has no ability to have empathy. She doesn't know what passion is or love. Or she has no concept. She's never had that in her life. She's feigned her entire existence by trying to fit into social, I guess, norms, I guess would be the best word. But she doesn't understand social cues. She has no compassion. And when you're devoid of empathy, you have to fake it. You have to go, okay, this is what it would normally look like, right?
Yeah, that's what I've seen Chille doing. I guess I've just been...
Well, he's a narcissist too.
Not getting out much because I really haven't... I mean, I've heard people use the word narcissist, but then I look up the definition. I'm like, they're an asshole, but narcissist...
there's a whole bunch.
You're overusing it.
No. Here's the thing. There are different types of narcissists. For example, there's a malignant narcissist. And like for example, Katie is a malignant narcissist, but Chille is not. I would put him in what's called a covert narcissist. A covert narcissist is a very different form of narcissist because they come across as very introverted. They come across as very unassuming. They have huge security issues. They'll always be defensive, just like Katie's defensive. But they really do kind of care what people think about them. But they don't portray themselves as like, oh, I'm just like a god type person. They're like, they do the persecution kind of narrative in a very sensitive kind of way. Katie does it. She's overt. She's just outright malignant. She's out to harm people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So you can hear her talking about Josh Duggar molesting children or whatever, and she's gleeful over it.
She talks about pedophilia and gets excited about it. It seems like.
It's weird.
So different types of narcissists get their supply differently, very differently. Oh, he froze. Like Kyle was a narcissist, but Kyle was not covert about it, but he was not malignant. I would say he was a high functional narcissist.
Yeah.
So there's different types
of narcissists that can pretend they can mimic social cues and pretend that they're normal for a while. Anybody can keep a facade up for a little while, but eventually that thing slips because of ego depletion. And when that happens, you see the real them. And I think that's what we've seen with her.
So the government has now found James Freeman. They know where he's at now because he lives off the grid. So they finally found him. They disconnected his internet, and they're circling his compound right now. No, he crashed, so he should be back.
Yeah, must have. I'm surprised I haven't. Usually the internet Costa Rica is not this good.
By the way, if you're in the live chat, the link to join is above there. Come on in. It is a free forum. Anybody can come in and talk about this stuff. But I'm serious about this stuff. I want people to recognize the harm that this woman does, because she could do no harm to me now. No harm. Nothing she could do.
She can't do anything to me either at this point.
I mean, even her lawsuit against me is a fucking joke. And even though I can't make it public yet, obviously all will come out. But her story changed once again. Her story is I continually make unwanted sexual harassment, sexual advances toward her. I swear to fucking God, this is the lawsuit. Really? Okay. So explain to me, Suzanne, how people can sue for anything, but when it comes to like producing evidence for a jury or a judge, what the fuck would
be going to be able to produce for anything?
I mean, there's a zero.
I know.
Zero, which means that she just threw something out there to say, "Oh yeah, well, yeah, you had all these sexual." When the narrative was when I rebuked Steve's unwanted come-ons, he swore a blood oath pact against me to the devil that to go after me and my channel for forever. It's like, what the?
Let's do something fun. Let me predict how that's going to go. How her lawsuit against you will go. This is my prostication tool. I can tell you
your
all kinds of crap. My clairvoyance. And it is coming up.
Outlook not promising.
Yeah, don't count on it.
Don't count on it.
Yeah, don't count on it. Don't count on her being successful, which is kind of what I think is going to happen on that because it's so ridiculous. I'm thinking about going to Minnesota when the Chrisley trial comes about.
Well,
maybe
let me ask you: is the trial going to be a Zoom, or he has to physically go there?
Oh, I don't know if they're going to do physical or not. I'm hoping they have a physical trial because supposedly they're going to do a trial with
like I would love it. I would be fine to go to Minnesota. I wouldn't give a shit. But what about him if he's incarcerated?
Well, if you're incarcerated, it doesn't stop you from suing and going to court. They kind of have to let you out.
Do they?
For that, he may show up with a belly chain and
she sure relied on the fact that he might be going to jail, but I don't think he's going to let it go. Although I do think 7M has the better case.
7M definitely has the better case.
Yeah,
because that tortious interference is going to really damn her.
Oh, absolutely. She interfered with their business contracts, and by the way, she doesn't understand tortious interference at all. I've heard her get it wrong multiple times.
Yeah, so have I.
Yeah. So I
think that he has the better. He has the better case. Better case. Still, at all, I still want to be there for the Chrisley one.
Like I said, I have talked all the lawyers talk to each other. You know this, so I mean,
I know that.
Yeah, so I mean, I can tell you right now that the 7M case, she's gonna lose everything, and and it's going to come down to who's able to get there kind of first, because Todd Chrisley's case, I think, was filed first, but I think the hearing for the 7M's first, isn't it?
7M's going to be first.
Yeah.
They're going to be first.
Yeah.
And they are going to be first. If Katie doesn't pull the usual thing she pulls, which is...
My child's sick, I can't make it.
Oh, my child is sick, I can't do this. Because personally, she delays everything.
Right, but she can only delay it so much. And I think she already used that up.
You got to pay the piper,
Yeah, because 7M is not dropping it. They're just not going to drop. I mean, they're going full throttle. And I think that she's going to basically have nothing left. I do believe
so too.
I do. I don't. She has told. Here's the thing. She has told the lawyers that she has no insurance. So if she has insurance, where the fuck is it? Because she didn't disclose it to the lawyers, which means she either lied to the lawyers or she just doesn't have insurance.
Well, let me tell you about that insurance. Those insurance claims. When I worked at Pathos came to us. Oh, I guess it must have been shortly after she got there and said, check with your homeowner's policy, talk to your insurance agent, and see what you need to do to keep your house from being targeted if you ever get sued for defamation or whatever through your writing. So I went and I talked to my agent and I asked also about insurance like that. And he said, we don't offer that. Nobody offers that. They're the kind of insurance you're saying to protect you against the defamation
doesn't exist. Yeah, no, I can tell you that. No insurance covers that. That's the same thing that Amber Heard found out the hard way.
Right, no insurance covers that. Now you can get additional insurance so that your house doesn't get snatched if something happens with that thing. But that's it. That is it. She didn't have anything.
Well, especially if it's malicious, and in her case, it could be shown that it's malicious.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and especially even in the Todd Chrisley case, if she lied, which I'm absolutely convinced she did, if she lied about having a source, that shows malice, period. And he's going to win just on that. Just on the fact that she lied about having a source that she can't produce. She cannot hide behind, I'm a journalist. I have to protect my source. Because one, there's no such thing. 2, the court can still ask you to do it, and if you don't give it, you're in contempt, you go to jail. And 3, she fucked up by saying she didn't know the name of the source, which means she didn't do her due diligence, even if there was a source, which means malice, recklessness.
I'm still waiting for the Duggars to sue her for that, because she has run with so many salacious rumors that nobody else would go touch with a 10-foot pole. Because
they care.
If you can't verify them, you can't use them.
Yeah, but I don't think she cares. I don't even think that all these other lawsuits are going to pan out. Now, I remember there were supposed to be 2 other lawsuits. They didn't pan out. It happens.
Yeah, it does. I went and talked to my lawyer about the whole thing, too, once I discovered the massive plagiarism going on that she had. The worst one for me was when I saw she had taken my story of joining and leaving my old cult church, and she had made it her own, word for word almost in some place. And when I saw them side by side on Bobby the robotic cat thing, I was just blown away. I was like, my husband could tell, I was very upset to see that.
She takes everything. She did with the Sun thing the other day, right? She literally took what the Sun wrote, the exact same headline and part of the image. She's not even trying to hide it anymore. She's blatant about it. You know why? Because I think she does get a duper light out of it. I think she wants people to recognize she's blatantly taking this stuff and nobody can do anything about it. I think she really does want people to recognize because she gets off on that. Personal opinion, obviously.
I think she does too. That's pretty crazy. Yeah. Well, of course, personal opinion on all this.
Look at how many people, now are recognizing the behaviors of her, which they should have recognized 2 years ago, but they didn't. But now, again, I think she's almost an unstoppable force, except the fact that there are people willing to go to massive amount of lengths in order to bring justice to the fact that she lied about them.
Yep.
I put my money where my mouth was. They did. Yeah.
There's nothing. There will be nothing for me to sue for. So it was like, I guess I'm.
And that's the problem I've ran into. That's one of the big problems. My lawyers are convinced they did a thorough thing on the 7M case. Okay.
Yeah.
And it cost me money to have that done. By the way, they didn't do that for free. Okay. Lawyers
don't work for free.
Right. And my lawyers, unfortunately, are very, very, very expensive. Much more than probably should have been. But they did a deep dive on that, and they felt that 7M had the best case. So I don't know what's going to happen with any of it. I can't prevaricate and prognosticate on it. But if I had to bet, if who's going to be the big winner, it's 7M.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so. The Todd Chrisley one, it may end up just being mudslinging, and he told everybody we're going to do a class action lawsuit.
Yeah, that was bullshit. I think
it was bullshit.
Yeah,
I think that was an attempt to get information. That's what I believe that was.
Yeah, I had talked to the lawyers about that, and the thing was that there can't really be a class action for that, and I don't think that's what he meant. I think that he meant as like 7M's doing. You know how they put like the Miranda and her husband on there. I think that's more what he meant than a class action lawsuit. I don't think he really knew what a class action lawsuit really was, because that's not what the lawyers were talking about. That's what I'm thinking.
Because I've been through a few of them myself. A class action lawsuit is very different.
So I think he got the term wrong.
At the beginning, it's like, I don't think we're going to see a, quote, class action lawsuit. I just don't see it.
No, not a chance.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think he just got the terminology wrong.
He could have. And that happens. We all have those senior moments now.
Well, I mean, he's going through a lot of stuff. I mean, he
is.
I mean, they are going to appeal on the 12 counts of indictment on the fraud, I guess it was called. But sentencing is in September, so it needs to be relatively quick. And what they could probably do is, because they don't like usually sending parents to jail at the same time, right? So one may go first and the other, and it could be anywhere from, it could be a month to 30 years. Nobody has a clue of what time he might get. Nobody knows. And so anybody who's like putting out there, he's going to get 30 years, you're going to get 12 years, you're going to get 6 years, you're just bullshitting. You have no idea. It could be. Who the fuck knows? But nobody has been able to really ascertain the details of what he's going to have as far as punishment, as far as any kind of jail.
He might get 3 months in a country club type club fed.
Yeah, he might get a house arrest. Yeah. Well, they're in house arrest now. Yeah.
Yeah, they are under house arrest.
That's because they haven't had sentencing.
Yeah, that's why. So very curious to see how this works out. But she seems to think that the minute he was found guilty, that makes her case go away, and that's not true. Prisoners still sue all the time.
I think it's more than that, though. It's not that she thought just that it would all go away. She thought because he did this, he's convicted of this. He did something wrong financially. Therefore, all the other shit he said must be wrong too, which does not work that way.
No, it does not work that way at all.
But I think that's what she does. She tries to look when she went after me because of what Kyle had done. It was to discredit me because she wanted to back Kyle. That's all. That's it. She had to create shit to try to discredit me. So she made up all that shit about sexual harassment. She didn't really make up the fraud stuff. What she did was she got it from Kyle and then ran with it. Right. So I do believe that. And I told her this. I have the conversations with her. I told her, look, I believe that Kyle kind of, duped you on this stuff. Again, I'm being kind of nice. But I do believe that's true. Kyle told her this stuff. There was messages between them, and I think that she kind of bought into it, but at the same time, she wanted to buy into it.
I think with her, and this is my observation, is that when she decides something, she has all these preconceived notions in her mind. So when she hears something, instead of instead of saying, "Hey, that dog over there is black," she might hear that and think, that dog is evil because it's black. She'll have some kind of weird thing going on in her mind that when she hears stuff, she interprets it completely differently than everybody else.
100%. And I will admit, I have amended my position on that. I used to initially, I was under the operating parameter, I guess, so to speak, to think that she kind of knew better, but it was just completely lying, right? That's what I originally was thinking a lot of the stuff, but I've subsequently come to the conclusion that her brain does not operate like other people's.
That's what I've concluded too, especially after Pathos and all the time she wanted to be recognized.
Yeah, she feels persecuted. She feels like she is the savior of everyone, and that if you don't recognize that, then you're somehow, defaming her, so to speak. And by the way, she doesn't understand defamation. No fucking idea what defamation even means.
I know. None whatsoever. Yet she does it all the time to others. That's what's comical.
Well, because one, I don't think she understands what it is. And two, she kind of gets away with it. Because up to now, people allowed her to get away from it. They promoted her.
I don't know how YouTube has put up with her for these years.
Well, YouTube was supposed to be on her channel. YouTube said they were going to take her channel down. That never happened.
It never happened. Yeah, she violates all of their terms of service that all of us try to stay with. And you were trying not to curse. I try not to curse either. In real life,
right. It's hard.
Curse some, but I try when I do YouTube, just like I did a Pathos, because the last 3 years of Pathos, we weren't allowed to curse either, unless it was central to the story. So I would sometimes write pieces where I had to use curse words. I would deliberately seek those things out just to screw with somebody.
Kano had to go to Walmart, so thank you, Kano. But yeah, if anybody wants to join in, let us know what you think. I don't want to keep it too much going longer because I think I've pretty well said my piece. But what do you guys think on this? Do you think we could start something where people will stop hate watching people? And again, I'm not being specific. I'm not targeting anybody. In general, stop hate watching. Just for the August. So if you're a content creator, will you on your channel talk about not hate watching this month? This is everybody. If you want to watch a certain channel, find out who actually covers them and just take your information from them and then go do your commentary, right?
No hate watch.
No hate watch for August. I mean, here's my prediction. Not many people are going to abide by that. There's going to be no change in the numbers, but you know what? At least I feel like I tried. And then when you go back and say, look, we tried.
Well, yeah. It's like when Claire did Enough is Enough. And I thought that was good. But a lot of people took it the wrong way, got very offended, and others wouldn't cooperate. But you have to try sometime with these things.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I keep on saying to people, look, I'm never going to stop trying. I just got to the point where look, nobody was listening, so what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Right,
now again, she's getting to new audiences. More people are paying attention. Maybe somebody will take notice that can actually.
There's a ton of new hate people. She's flipped a lot of people into hating her recently, so that's interesting. We have a new flux into the community.
That would be nice. Again, I'm not even in the anti-Katie Joy community. Those people are just as nutty as she is. Some of them.
Some of them are, yeah. Some of them are crazy.
God.
That's why I call it Pitchfork Nation, because there's some truth to that. There's some that are just go off the deep end.
Well, that's why I stayed away from those people. I have my own fucking dealings with her.
Yeah. I hear you. That's why I finally started blocking people on Twitter, because it's like it was impacting my mental health every day.
It's hard not to when you have people like, like just for example, now it's no big deal. She won't even mention my name, so I don't give a shit. Yeah. So she will never mention my name. She doesn't want her followers knowing about me, at all.
Nope. Sure doesn't.
She does not know. And in fact, do you remember a long time ago? And she put this in one of the documents too, about when I said, hey, if you're a Katie Joy follower, these are the questions you need to be asking. Maybe not asking her directly, but asking yourself. And she took that as like harassment. I'm like, what? Asking questions is harassment now? What planet are you living on? You're not allowed to think, why is this woman not putting out any evidence? Why is this woman saying she's getting death threats and emails? And yet we've never seen any of the emails.
We've never seen any of that.
And she releases emails. She puts out private conversations all the time, yet she won't put out a single fucking conversation that mine with her when she claimed that I sent her death threats through email. Where the fuck are they? Because they're not in the court records. She didn't give any of that to anybody. They don't exist. It was a lie. It was an outright fucking lie when she said, "Oh, Steve threatened me to make a video apologizing to him, and he threatened me in emails." All that was a fucking lie. I don't know. There's no other word to describe it. I have the evidence to show as a lie, and she has no evidence to show as the truth. Why would anybody ever at this point believe her on anything? Not just with me, but with other people. No. I'm more concerned now about other people. Me, I've been vindicated. I don't fucking have anything else to prove. Anybody who doesn't believe me, they can fuck off. They could literally fuck off the planet. I don't care. But when I see her doing this to other people, I feel morally obligated to at least say shit. Renell feels morally obligated to say shit. You feel morally obligated to say shit. Aaron, Tina. And those are the people she does not want people watching.
Yeah, exactly. So she will try to marginalize you. She'll say you're stalking her, all kinds of just really crazy things to try and shut you down when you're saying shit. Yeah. And it's like, I can't get over it.
You know what is sexist? She would try to file a fucking fraudulent TRO against me and say that I was sexually harassed her, but she didn't with you. You didn't sexually harass Katie. Why not? What's up with you?
I'm not lesbian enough. I guess I'm not enough.
She's not lesbian enough. She played that up about her whole I'm bisexual.
What? Funny. She played that up, and it's like, because when she did that and said that, I was like you. I was like, what?
She has even. I have a tweet somewhere, something along the shade where she said she wasn't even interested in women, and yet she's trying to use the LGBTQ plus community as like her own personal troll army, because she thought that was going to happen. She thought, oh, I'm going to have all these gay, lesbian, queer, transgender people supporting me because, I had a flag that was a gay pride flag that was ripped apart from my neighbors. That didn't happen. Never fucking happened.
Didn't happen at all.
Proven that did not happen.
There was somebody that came into the comments somewhere recently that claimed to be a neighbor of hers that said a lot of really crazy stuff. And if it was true, it would not look good for her. It would not be a good look.
But here's the thing, though. Why? Okay, I am naive to a certain extent when it comes to certain things. I admit this. I don't have the mind of these trolls. They operate on a whole different level. And I had other people around me that understood that mindset that I just cannot wrap my head around, okay? And I no longer have those people around. I'm not going to mention their names, but it doesn't matter. But I don't understand how anybody could watch her shit and go, oh, this is a good person.
Yeah, I don't either. Particularly when she's going like every few seconds, or talking with her vocal fry and all this stuff, and just like she's doing.
There's nothing appealing. There's nothing entertaining. even if for a hate watch.
Not even entertaining. I don't understand why anybody would find the stuff she says entertaining. She doesn't educate. She doesn't inform. She doesn't really add anything. She just takes all these ridiculous
Suzanne,
notions.
Do you think Llama Girl is being entertained by watching her shit? No. No,
no. I think
she's suffering. Yeah. Llama Girl's suffering.
Yeah. Particularly when Katie started going off about people that commit suicide.
And loss of her kid and things of that nature?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And it really got to Llama Girl. I could see that. I don't know how she could have watched.
I don't know.
Because I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it.
No, I was mortified. I'm like, when you think that somebody has gone literally to the bottom of the fucking barrel, dived underneath it, and then scrape the fungi that's on the bottom of the barrel, and feeding it to people as is this fucking manna from heaven. You know?
I know.
Good night, Tom 3B. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, I don't know what else to do, man. Like I said, I do these things once a month where I just kind of like do a recap, because it's frustrating. I have my own thing that I got to vent, you know. But.
Yeah, we all do. I'm actually pretty blissed out for a change. I got a new car, so I'm like,
congratulations.
I didn't have a car for 2.5 months, and that was dire.
I eventually I might get another vehicle one of these days. I just don't need one right now. You know.
No, I hear you, but I needed one.
I walk to work, and it's good exercise for me. You know. Lucky.
You could walk to work. Yeah. So, yeah.
And I love where I'm at. You know, I'm happy because I moved back to where I was. I lived here 20 years prior. I moved away for like 7-8 years or whatever it was. And it was nice to move back. And, you know, I happened to, move in with Kano, as people know. And, God, she's just amazing. We get along exceptionally well. It's been like, 7 months now? You know, and we're family with each other. We're there for each other. And that's something that I needed. I needed somebody that wasn't a complete piece of shit that I could trust. That we don't have any issues, you know. At
least she's not trying to say you were trying to show her your peen from states away.
She wouldn't even care. It's like I shower, whatever. It's like who the fuck cares? Nobody cares.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't fucking care.
Yeah. Nobody does. It's so funny.
Nobody cares.
So funny. Well, I'm gonna have to go lay down.
Yeah,
I'm old. Yeah, I scrubbed my porch today. My house has this big wraparound porch. It goes around like 3/4 of the house or something, and it had gotten very nasty. So I am like,
thank you for joining in your pain. Hopefully you'll get over it and take some Tylenol or something.
You get old and you pull muscles and things. You do stuff you don't do every day.
Trust. I had it. Yeah. I took one of her Midol or something the other day. She was like, "Here, try this." So yeah, no, I'm there. I get it. So go lay down, and I want to appreciate everybody watching. Again, this was just a fun free-for-all thing.
Everybody.
It was still a serious topic, and I really do hope people take it to heart, and I hope that Renell and
hate watch August. I'm going to put it up.
Yeah, I hope that, like I said, I can only do so much. So if you guys could take it from there, and Renell and Aaron and Llama and other people run with it, maybe they can promote it. I really can't do much or else because who the fuck listens to me, but they've got a voice that I don't have. And maybe people will listen. Right. Maybe people will say, look, for this month, we're just going to stop watching these people. And again, I'm not targeting any specific individual, but just don't hate watch people and see what happens. See if it makes a difference. You want to make a difference in society and you want to make a difference on YouTube, then don't be part of the problem. Because I think that the hate watchers are part of the problem, unfortunately. I know
they are, because look what they did during the Tati Westbrook trial, how they screwed that all up.
Exactly. Learn from your mistakes, right?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, guys. With that, like, subscribe, become a member of the channel. I have a Patreon. I appreciate it. Yeah, you guys are great. So I'm just going to call it a day too. I'm tired. Okay.
Long day.
All right. Good night, all.
Everybody.
Good night. Bye.